I don't know if they were stealing things, but man, they had a lot of cool stuff. Do it live.
Is it live now? Cool. Welcome back to GhettoRig episode number 23. Sorry guys, we're a little bit late to show up. We had some technical difficulties as usual, and as you can tell by the name of the podcast, it's part of it. So, without further ado, we have a new guest. He's a buddy of mine. I met him in jiu-jitsu, Alex, and I'm gonna let him kind of do the talk, introduce himself, what he does, and we've got a episode chock full packed with new things we're going to talk about, some news and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
and I think Alex will fit right in.
Fantastic. Appreciate it, Jay. Yeah, I met Jay doing murder yoga and fell right into it, and been having a blast getting to train with him over the past 6 months. But I'm Alex. I don't know. I kind of have an interesting background. I'm probably one of the more laid-back financial professionals you'll meet. I've been doing investment finance for about the past 11 years of my career. Member of the American Banking Association, certified trust banker, all sorts of interesting things. But I try to keep it pretty laid back. We don't have to dig too far into the realm of finance tonight. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. We'll probably maybe touch a little bit about that. But I'm a Florida native. A few of us do exist out there. Hail from Tallahassee, Florida. Go Noles. Moved down here about 15 years ago to St. Pete, and have not left yet. So, you better get out of here with that. It is not Gator Nation. It is Seminole all day. How'd y'all end up last year?
What do you mean?
What was your?
I don't follow them. I don't give a shit.
He asked the wrong one.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
you asked the wrong person here. I don't give a shit about that.
College sports is something near and dear to my heart. I was the first one in like 3 generations of my family not to go to FSU, so a little heartbroken for my family on that side. But I can't say enough about St. Pete. This place is awesome. So thanks for having me on, y'all, and we have some fun and insightful conversations, and
Thanks for coming.
take it from there. So.
We were talking about Star Wars, which I really like that conversation.
I do
love
too.
it.
So-
I love Star Wars.
I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I got a huge Star Wars tattoo on my left leg. Fortunately, I'm wearing jeans, so no show off tonight. But Star Wars is awesome. Even though people like to say it's kind of basically just a repurposed spaghetti western, I really don't care. It's awesome. Hate all you want. Star Wars is epic. From the initial production on how they did it, to the special effects that were basically generated. You look at the companies that came out of it, like Industrial Light and Design, wouldn't be the company they are today. Lucasfilm, pioneering all these different technologies for special effects. Think about things like that you enjoy today, like Avatar and all that stuff. We wouldn't have that without Star Wars. So, but yeah, so do we want to jump into our thoughts on the current state of Star Wars? Because I think that's where a lot of people are getting pretty divisive now.
You talk about that, and it's funny. I saw today.
Hey, they have a question. Is that a Wu-Tang shirt?
Oh, this is a Wu-Tang John Mayer shirt. So, yeah, it's messing with the people a little bit. It's the W turned upside down with John Mayer in the middle. So,
I didn't
Oh
notice the
shit, we
W
got
was
some
upside
shit
down.
talking here. Star Trek is better.
Yeah, whatever.
Charles, I will say Star Trek has its own standing. I'm a huge Trekkie.
I think you should take it to the mats, guys, and decide who's
my
better.
my dad likes Star Trek a lot.
I think
watched it a
Charles.
little
I
bit
think
growing up.
Charles will decisively. He will come out on top with that one. I might need to sub in my my other purple belt over here for some assistance on that one with Charles.
So how's Stargate fit in with all of this saga of all that?
Well, Stargate's pretty dope in its own right. You had the movie who was the guy that played Charles California from The Office?
No, I never watched The Office.
Oh,
The dry, I could never get into the dry.
Did you ever
humor.
watch
like,
Black-
constant dry humor?
did you ever watch Blacklist?
Yes.
The guy, the main character from Blacklist was the initial army soldier that went through the gate in Stargate. But again, I'm a huge nerd. I love
Listen,
all that stuff.
Jay does not love ATM guard, and Jay tries to get out of the ATM guard every time somebody puts him in there, by all means necessary. There's no ATM guard in
I've been wanting
Jay's
to watch that
life.
Picard. But today I watched a thing where Jon Favreau was talking about how he felt that the Book of Boba Fett was necessary for the Mandalorian to continue.
I think so because
James Spader.
Yeah, you are spot on, Charles. But I think you're absolutely right because my feelings are that they Babe Ruth called their shot, pointed over the center field, and crushed it with season 1, and season 2 sucked. Like the storyline didn't go anywhere. We basically just didn't evolve, and I honestly thought it might not have gotten renewed for a second season.
I didn't feel the same way personally. I liked it. I mean, it was like a. I guess I can definitely see what you're saying, 100%. Yeah. But I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it, 100%.
You know why season 3 is better in my eyes? Because season 3 follows season 1. In the season 1, they're introducing you to Mando, right?
Yeah.
And then he's kind of progressing through season 1. Now, season 3 started with the same progression. It's almost like he has to do a double take and do what he's done before, and he's again progressing through that. In the season 2, it was just more of a it's a baked cake, here, eat it. But nobody shows you how to bake the cake, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I like. I like that progression of the character. It's not necessarily in what Marvel would do with character develop. First movies they were just kind of like a origin stories. It's not that. It's not an origin story. It's just a progression, and you kind of follow in the life of Mando in the first season, and then he just abruptly stops, and then now you have the second season, and you follow in the life again, like on a second take.
Oh, absolutely. But I think the extension that they had with Book of Boba Fett was really cool too because, they introduce all of this new world, we're so far after, the movies of, X, Y, or Z, but they took it back with, Book of Boba Fett with him crawling out of the Sarlacc, or not the Sarlacc pit. What was the name of the creature in Tatooine that he fell into?
That is it.
Those are cheese rolls.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
are cheese rolls. They're not cookies.
He crawls
Yes.
out of the Sarlacc pit, so you get taken back into the original movies, back into Return of the Jedi, and you're like, all right, this is awesome. So it's not, they don't have to do a ton of world building, and then they're back on Tatooine. They're back in the Fett's palace and everything.
I don't know if I don't know if you agree with this. I have a couple friends that agree with this. The best episode of Book of Boba Fett was basically episode one of season 3 of Mando, when he gets the ship and does all that. That's the episode I enjoyed the most of that whole Book of Boba Fett thing, was where Boba Fett wasn't even in it. You know what I mean? Like I thought that was the one I enjoyed. I didn't think it was whack.
Spicy.
In comparison to Mando, I mean, come on.
I don't put it that low, but I say that my favorite episode was the one he wasn't even in it, kind of thing.
I think that was sweet because also then it takes it back. I mean, again, unpopular opinion. I really did like episode 1 of Star Wars, and
Sarlacc.
Jar Jar Binks didn't ruin it for me.
Sarlacc. Is that what you're talking about?
People
Yeah,
hated
Sarlacc.
him. That was one of my. I like it.
I mean, I love all that stuff,
love the
but I really
shtick.
love the ships, and they he gets basically a steampunk version of a Tatooine of a
N1 Starfighter.
yeah N1 Starfighter. So I'm like, that's sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's not to love about it? So yeah, I definitely agree with you on the progression of it, and I'm super excited. Tomorrow morning before work starts, watch it.
Yeah.
Ready? Yeah, I'm definitely excited.
I remember for episode 1, I had work the next day. It's like, I don't give a fuck. I stayed
You
out.
have to stay up till 3 in the morning
Yeah,
Eastern time.
I did it for episode 1.
That's commitment right there.
Yeah. I really.
That's what
So
commitment looks like.
talking about, we talked about these companies and the technology that they have to put in and stuff like that. So what do you think, how is this whole, I'm going to shift the gears a bit. How do you think that the shitstorm that's hitting the country right now, how is that going to affect the tech industry?
Well, I mean, definitely a shift a little bit, but I mean, you have to think about it from a few different perspectives. So, Facebook Meta just announced another 10,000 layoffs yesterday, which the total, but they announced 5,000 hires as well. So between the
technically probably what they're doing is they're firing people that are making X amount of money and hiring new people that are going to come in at a lower price point. Most likely. I don't know what the numbers are. This is what I'm guessing.
So I would agree and disagree a bit with that. So in the past 3 months, they've announced 20,000 layoffs, 15,000 net. They announced this week that they're hiring 5,000 more people, 20,000 total, so 15. What I really think is that they've kind of seen the writing on the wall with the huge investment they had with their metaverse platform.
Which they're pretty much now saying that he's taking a step back from it, and he's not gonna pursue it because it didn't. And on top of that, Apple just released that they're gonna come in with that VR headset this year.
Yeah. So I think from the perspective,
Which I think we all saw coming.
Yeah, I think from the perspective that you have to look at the kind of the velocity of money that you have in tech, and without getting too far in the weeds of what I do professionally, I've seen still a lot of people investing in the tech space. There's still a lot of people raising capital for different projects. Now, has it slowed down a bit? I think yes, but I think the other effect is that it kind of forces the industry to be better. So you have, these issues like you do with SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, which we can touch on in a second, which is fascinating.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, go ahead. We'll talk about it later.
And then also with things like Signature Bank. So I think from the perspective of looking at, what does this do for technology, I think in the short term it's going to slow development, but I think it's going to force people to refocus on the best things out there, which again slows development, but also at the same time, hopefully drives innovation in better ways, because the metaverse was innovative, bar none. I mean, granted, I think it was kind of a red herring and a pipe dream of Zuckerberg to go for it, but it's again, you still have all this money that has to go somewhere, and I think people are going to focus on better things to do.
Yeah.
Than
And SVB, you're right. SVB, the problem with SVB is because it is known as a bank for venture capitalists to pretty much take loans, right? So what happens when venture capitalists start pulling out money? So now the other banks are going to be like, well, you just pulled X amount of money from SVB just when SVB was crashing. So now they're not going to have, most likely not going to have, hopefully that doesn't happen, but most likely not going to get the loans. And that's going to trickle down, snowball down to tech industry, where a lot of these venture capital is not gonna have the money to invest into new tech ventures, and which is gonna force the new tech ventures to be really solid for them to invest money into it.
Yeah, well, you have to look at kind of when you look at startups, kind of the way that it works is that you have, let's just kind of, because I've dealt with this a lot. So basically, when it comes to a startup, you have, let's go down to the granular level. You have people that have an idea, right? And they say, hey, X, Y, and Z is a great idea. Let's go out and get money. The first thing that they go out and do is typically not debt finance. They'll go out in the traditional
angel
sense.
Financing.
They'll get they'll sell equity. So they do like what's called a friends and family round of fundraising, where they go out and there's regulations from the SEC on how you raise this money. They'll get that money in there, typically in exchange for equity. Sometimes sometimes what they'll do is issue what's called convertible notes, which are pretty cool, where they do take on debt, but they don't dilute their equity. Again, I nerd out on this stuff a lot, but suffice it to say, typically they don't go to a bank and just borrow money in the tech space. They get...
Well, most of the time it's angel investor, usually a family member that has money. They'll invest a certain amount to get them going. Once they get going and then have a proof of concept, now they go to venture capital and say, hey, listen, this is our proof of concept. And we can sell you X amount into it, right? And venture capital will look at it and say, okay, well, if I put money in it, one of my people are going to be on your board. They're going to kind of direct you what you need to do. And for the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to give me X amount of money off the profits. Which is usually 20 to 30% of the profits or whatever.
You'd be surprised how often that more traditional, traditional structure really doesn't play out anymore.
Yes.
But I mean, again, the thing that I think that SVB really highlights is that it's going to get, so companies that are going to need that are kind of in the rollout phase of a product. They're going to be so it's going to kind of reduce, I think, the amount of
echo. We got echo.
Yo, this echo is wild.
Yeah, we're getting an echo, guys. Give us. Is there? Is it? I think it's the gains. Hold on.
No, they're set normal. I wouldn't touch that. It's not that.
Is it better now? Anyway, just continue.
So again, I think it's going to really affect companies that are have gone through their funding and need that capital to really get their products out there. But I think the crazy stuff that's happening with SVB, to simplify it, it's basically a 1930s run on the bank. They had with fractional reserve banking. They didn't have enough cash on hand and couldn't raise the capital quick enough to satisfy people taking the money out, and they got seized by the FDIC, and normally you're only covered up to $250,000. The FDIC on Sunday said they will extend coverage to all cash deposits, and Roku had $450 million in a corporate checking account. That CEO needs to get fired.
Well, yeah. So
in a
see,
checking
what
account.
Federal Reserve pretty much came out and said. They said, technically, what they implied to is that they're not gonna print, they're not gonna print money, right? Basically, because the taxpayers immediately, oh well, they're gonna start giving money again. They said they're not gonna print money, but what they said they're gonna do, they have this reserve, like a like a rainy day fund, right? And they're gonna use that rainy day fund to try to bail them out, right? But in reality, who gives the money to that rainy day fund?
It's the banks. I mean, the FDIC is an insurance. It's like a hybrid public-private. So the banks pay fees, and the fees collected from like bank wire transfers and spreads on exchange rates and stuff. It's not as funded by the taxpayers as most people think. Granted, people are going to have to foot the bill somewhere. The money just doesn't come out of thin air. But I think as far as tech goes, it's going to be really interesting to watch and see what happens in the next coming months because, the world lives on technology. This is some real James Bond shit that we're doing. Right now we're sitting in a living room, hooked up to a computer, broadcasting to someone that could be sitting in Malaysia eating their breakfast, listening to us, chit chat about the failure of the second largest and third largest bank failure in U.S. history, which is wild to think about. $250 billion of assets and just
Gone overnight.
It was there Thursday. It's not here today.
Yeah, it's overnight. Yeah, because that's what happens no bank can survive 25% of their assets being pulled. No bank can do that. And, the way banks work, it's as long as you have 10% on the deposit, you can write a bunch of loans, right?
Yeah.
So what happens when everybody just randomly starts pulling money out, right? Like it's going to be a sell-off and things like that. So they tanked. I think Alex is part of a bank shenanigans.
I can neither confirm or deny that, and although you do have kind of a fun username, not gonna out you. Might know who that is on the other end of that keyboard. So,
oh, we know
nice.
who it is.
we know. Just messing with you. But yeah, I mean, it's I love to get into these heady topics, but again, I know the light nature of all this. I could probably put people to sleep with my rantings and ramblings.
Well, see, the thing is,
banking.
like, this subject is not very sexy. No one really wants to know what happened. All people want to know, something failed and I have to pay for it. But no one really wants to know, like, the nitty-gritty, why is it happening, what's the root cause of it, and things like that. Like, they don't know that CEO of the SVB used to be part of the board on a Fed Reserve. You know what I mean? Like, bunch of people, like, they were part of it. They don't know that Dodd-Frank, back in the day when he was on a board, during the Trump era, he was going for Dodd-Frank and specifically pushing this law where the banks, through Dodd-Frank, some of the banks that are not considered essential, they don't have to report their losses or their debt, right? Like, they were just stepping into this year already had $15 billion that were already in a negative. But then Kramer comes out a couple of weeks ago and says it's still a buy. Why? Because that didn't show in their financial statements. It was part of the footnotes. Yeah. Right, and majority of people don't read the footnotes, and things like that. So, and the guy that actually helped Elon create PayPal, forget his name, he was out there. He created a bunch of venture capitalists, so on and so forth. Afterwards, he was pretty much I don't know if he was the catalyst to this, but he was saying, hey, listen, pull your money out.
Yeah.
Like, he was screaming at the top of his lungs.
Yeah, the guy you're talking about is, oh, Lord, I can't remember his name right now, but he's a real piece of work. Yeah, that guy, he's an interesting fellow. But what I think an important thing for people to understand about what's happening is, and it's going to be interesting to see how, politicians spin it, is that in this instance, unlike with the crash of 2008, with the TARP legislation, which is basically the bailout, taxpayers in large are not going to foot the bill for this. Depositors, people are affected. But what I would say to people is don't kind of buy into the narrative that, this is just one more thing the taxpayers got to pay for. The FDIC is there for a reason. It's an insurance that banks have to pay into. And granted, there might be some pain felt by people, but you're never going to see it. Your taxes aren't going to go up, things like that because of this. But it is frightening to see that this kind of failure can happen, but it kind of is focused on the fact that, the bank was hyper focused in one industry. Anytime you put all of your eggs in one basket, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah, and it wasn't regulated in a sense like J.P. Morgan and Chase is regulated, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. It slipped under the regulation, right? Like there were some caveats there that they were able to skid by, but yeah. So, I mean, we're just gonna have to play out and see. And then again, the other day Jerome Powell was in front of the Congress, I think, and the guy, it was a senator from what state, I don't remember, and he specifically asked him, he's like, okay, well, you want to raise the interest rate again, so which they're planning. So the way it looks like, they might raise another 1.25 up, and that's the bank lending rate, right? Like the inner bank lending rate, which will translate to a lot more for us borrowers, right? Like, so right now inner banking lending rate is what I think it's like 5 or something like that. So if they're gonna go up to 6.25, and if it's at 5 and mortgages are at 7, so if we go to 6.25, you're looking at mortgage rates being at somewhere in the 8s or above. You know what I mean? So that's what you're looking at, and what's gonna happen then? Yeah, that's gonna slow down the economy. In the Congress, this senator was pretty much saying, he's like, well, every time you raise X amount in interest rates, the job losses, right, take a hit by magnitude, like a huge magnitude, right? Like a quarter or half of the percent raise pretty much equates to 3% on a loss, right? So they're saying if you raise it that much, we're gonna go to an unemployment to upwards of 10% unemployment, right? And Jerome Powell didn't come out and directly say that. He goes, yeah, that's technically the science. That's what's been going on. By basically indirectly saying, yeah, that's what's going to happen. There's going to be a 10% unemployment rate and things like that. So I want to see how that's going to play out. That's going to be super interesting.
Yeah.
10% of United States unemployed.
So, I mean, it's a lot to say about a little, I think, in that regard, because if you look historically, I mean, a 7% to an 8% 30-year fixed mortgage on a, for people out there buying homes, that's a relatively normal interest rate.
Yes, the policy, and it should have been done, in my opinion. This should have been done long ago. Yeah. Except we rode this horse to the brink of no return. This should have been done, in my opinion. This should have been done 5 years ago.
Absolutely, but it's you look back at the 80s, you had 13-14% rates on mortgages, and we didn't have 10% unemployment. It's when it comes to financial markets, it's people make a big deal about it, but at the end of the day, it's not as bad as most people play it out to be.
But in the 80s, we didn't have double house. The prevalence of double income households was a lot lower than now. So that's what they're banking on. That's why the prices are so much inflated, because they know there are two people, most likely a couple, they're going to live in a house, double income. That means we can extract more money. So let's raise the prices. So that's usually what happens, like in a negative inflation, where not negative inflation, a negative interest rate. Like in some of the Scandinavian countries, they have a negative interest rate. What that does, yes, it's a negative interest rate, which means that if you buy the house at $300,000 and you borrow $300,000, you end up paying, let's say, $250,000, right? Because it's a negative interest rate. It actually eats into the interest rate. But the problem is the real price of the house is actually $200,000. They're still making their money, whether it's a negative or a positive. It's just,
sure,
I don't know how
but
that's
also,
going to translate.
One last thing before maybe we bring the mood up a little bit from talking about doom and gloom of finance is that even in the 1970s, when you have rampant inflation, you have things like 3 Mile Island happening, you have the you have the Iranian hostage crisis, and you have inflation getting up towards 10-11%. You still don't have unemployment hitting anywhere near 10%, and then especially to the single income household, even in the 70s we had primarily single income households, so you don't have that double income to offset it. You're basing it on a much more, and I use the term loosely, traditional, one working adult, one staying at home, taking care of children. So you have a lot less income coming in and super high inflation, and you still don't see those high unemployment rates. Mm-hmm. So again, because the prices weren't that high, like that single household income was enough, even with the inflation, it was enough. And now you have the double income household, but the problem is we have TVs. We want a nice TV. We want a newest cell phone. We want the newest car. We want this, the newest this, newest that. Like the traditional mindset has switched in a. So here's an interesting segue, and I think we can bring our lovely left hand side here, is that the 70s, talking about cool stuff from the 70s, I'm a big audiophile, which, to say that I love tech in the sense, but I'm a big fan of specifically like sound equipment. Like I think that kind of stuff like is super cool. And we still have not touched the level of like epic sound equipment that we did in the 70s. Like,
yeah, because you had all those tubes, bro. You can't beat the tubes.
Well, yes, yes and no.
I almost got because I just upgraded my amplifier at my house, and I almost went with the tube one. So I have a shit Magni, and I saw that they had like the hybrid tube amp.
Yeah.
And I was like, is it worth the $80 more though? I don't know.
Bro, tube amps, no one, like right now, well, here's the thing. We can do it. It's just we don't invest enough into it, right? Like, because I don't know why. We
still have it. Like, I mean, you just have to pay a lot for it. Like, if you look at the super high-end stuff, like Macintosh, I mean, their stuff.
Yeah, 10,000 plus.
Real expensive. But you can get, like, the old TX stuff. You can get, like, Onkyo and Marantz. Personally, I'm a Marantz fanboy. I have Marantz sound at my house. Don't tell my wife how much I paid for it. But, yeah, I mean, audio equipment is some really cool stuff. And the fact that it's one of those things that has really kind of been an industry of fine wine. The old stuff just gets better, and the technology just is so refined on some of this stuff that it's absolutely epic. I mean, Sennheiser. I mean, we're wearing headphones. You probably heard of Sennheiser.
I use the ones they did with Mass Drop, the 6XX.
Yeah,
that's the ones I use.
Those Mass Drop ones are sick. I almost bought the first Mass Drop ones they did.
The 5/8s.
Yeah, those are sick. But if you ever want to look up something cool and maybe even pull it up on there and throw it up on the screen, Sennheiser makes like some absolutely epic stuff going with tubes now. They make this one called the Orpheus, and they only make a certain amount each year. It comes with like a custom case it has its own tube amp for the headphones.
That. It's like the bottom of the case, it's like the base is like marble. Oh yeah, it's super nice.
Yeah, but aren't they like $4,000 or $5,000?
It's got like ridiculous? A deposit.
More.
The deposit 10. Itself is like $1,500.
Yeah, but deposit. Here's the thing for me. Here's the thing. That's awesome.
I saw the new 660S2s.
Yeah.
That just came out, and I saw them, and I'm like, oh, I want it, but 600, I can't do it.
But see, the thing is, like, for you to understand. Like that, it's that 80-20 rule, right? Like majority of people not gonna know the fucking difference.
Now, you know what's crazy?
Oh, absolutely.
Like myself, I wouldn't know the difference. So I don't have the ear
I worked
for
at
it.
Best Buy, right? And I selling gaming headphones all day.
Sure.
And then I would have people ask me like, "Oh, what's the best?" Okay, well, if you're looking through this is the best. But like, it's still got this $200 bump in price just because it says premium gaming.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like you can go to and it's like, okay, well, I want something with a mic. You have Sennheiser. They have a bunch of stuff with mics and a bunch of other. Well, I can't. Someone tip my tongue. Another brand that's like audiophile ish has stuff with mics as well too, or get an external mic or something. I don't know, but it's a big difference. Like I had a gaming headset before, and then I switched to the Sennheisers, and then I was using it with that Rode amp, the same one he has right there, the AI. And then, like, even going from that to something a little more audiophile-ish, like the shit, was a big difference just switching the amplifier.
Oh, it's absolutely wild. Like, so what I tell people is that always spend the money on the amp because the law of diminishing returns really hits home with the headphones, with the speakers and everything. But to your point, that's a really funny thing. It's just like, and I gotta tell my wife this. It's the pink tax. Everything that's marketed towards women. Like think about like razors, shaving cream, stuff like that. Always gets like a 10% bump in price. Which
same thing with gaming
is crap. I'm like, but on the flip side, like look at gamers. Like you tag gaming onto the exact same thing, 10% bump. Like stick an RGB strip on it. Like gamers will go bonkers for that.
But what's the percentage of gamers buying that shit versus women buying the shavers? You know what I mean? So if I were creating a company,
I saw a meme the other day where it said when gamers buy their first house and it's just a big huge strip of RGB lights on the top of the roof.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
And then you go from that, and you go to like 6 months later, like how I am, where I turn off every single light on my setup.
Oh, 100%.
Everything blacked out.
So when I built my tower, I have like a like the IO pump for my water block, had it on there. I had couldn't get like the firmware updated, so I had to unplug it. Like I switched out my RAM because I had RGB RAM.
Yeah.
And
I have all mine disabled. I have RGB RAM, my IO pump, my graphics card, everything has RGB on it. The motherboard, I turned it all off.
well, like my for whatever reason, like my
What's up,
like
Jose?
the Corsair, the IQ
Hey,
Corsair
primo.
stuff, like I don't know what it is, but the IQ Corsair stuff just never wants to work. Like I'll turn it off and then like it'll turn back on.
I've actually figured out a way. So all of those shitty softwares, they do have like a firmware flash where you can flash it, and you don't even have to. I delete IQ. I delete Thunderstorm, Firestorm, whatever it is for my graphics card. Like I delete all those things. I apply the settings, flash it, and take it off.
Well, like so like I managed to get all of them off except for my my EVGA 1080 Ti Cerberus has to have this little red backlight to it. And I'm like, oh, I just want to get in there, just pull it out.
The worst one I've had to deal with has been either my graphics card, Zotac, Firestorm. Shit. Even it's funny. Even the tech at Zotac, when I was on the phone with him, like figuring out what the hell's wrong with their app, because I like using Afterburner for like the actual like management of like fan speed and like I underclock a little bit.
Sure.
But there's like stick to Afterburner. The guy at Zotac tells me to stick to Afterburner.
Just stick to it. It's
He's like, do what you want to do with lights and delete the app. Literally, that's what he was telling me.
Oh, that's funny. So I wrote down a few I think interesting topics.
Go ahead.
Keep it light because if I start going down financial rabbit holes,
Charles like black electrical tape will fix that light.
it also so Charles, it also fixed my check engine light, my tire pressure lobe light, and my fuel light. Black electrical tape really fixed the world.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that a little bit of black electrical tape,
I work in construction, so caulking fixes everything.
Oh yeah,
Caulking will cover it all.
it's like 1 inch gap, blast it.
Caulking. You know, one time we were at the store and we are looking through like we were gonna do a bunch of thresholds, right? And he wanted to make it was a house on the beach, so he wanted to make sure to like get really good silicone. And he was looking through the different ones, and we found one that said covers up to 2 inch gaps, and we were like, oh my god, who would do that? Yeah,
that is wild.
Caulking. We use caulking, duct tape, and super glue. They do it all.
Alex, you want some water? I'll fill that up for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I go through the water quickly. So again, yeah, all purpose, right?
What you got?
So let's see.
He came prepared with his own pen, paper, and all.
Oh, I'm anything but not prepared. So let's see. So here's a good one. So zombie apocalypse, right? Everyone always likes to say what they do in the zombie apocalypse. And I have a bit of a contrarian view to this point. So zombie apocalypse happens. What vehicle are you going for? And what modifications are you doing to that vehicle to help you survive the zombie apocalypse?
Okay, so initially it was funny. I'm a car guy, so initially I thought diesel, but then I'm like, nope, too much shit to fix. Like if something goes wrong, they can last really long. Like right, your diesel will go 500 or 1,000,000 miles, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But if something goes wrong, too complicated.
For the newer ones, yes.
Right. So probably like I had a Chevy. Like my first car was a 2000 Chevy 1500 Silverado. Okay. So it had like literally it was the first year that they had the LS,
the 5.3.
The 5.3, right?
Iron Block 5.3, man.
Yeah, it was the Iron Vortec 5.3, and that thing went to 285,000 miles.
Okay.
And all it had got done on it was probably alternator, and that was was about it. And so probably something like something with that motor in it, something GM with the Vortec in it.
Okay.
Now,
and what upgrade? What upgrade you doing? You doing turrets? You doing barbed wire? What are you doing?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right?
I don't know. Like,
K&N filter.
That's a lifetime filter, buddy.
Those are the ones you can clean, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one.
We can go back to the mod if you want to think about it. So, Jay, I'll put it over to you. Zombie apocalypse, which vehicle are you choosing? What mod are you doing to that vehicle?
I'm getting a school bus.
Okay.
School bus has got the engine, got the space for cargo or people.
Okay.
Bars on the windows because it can handle weight, right?
Sure.
Bars on the windows. In the front, I'm tagging excavator, like what's that in a tractor?
They're called cow pushers, actually.
Yeah, that. We're gonna push some cows out the way.
Get out my way, zombies.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that on there, and then I'm covering the tires almost all the way to the bottom, like evening it out, so you can't, because you're gonna have raiders, so they don't fuck with your tires. You know what I mean? And then obviously, the barb and whatnot on the windows, or maybe even go with like instead of bars.
One thing I just thought of is I would kit my shit out with the brightest fucking lights, like flashed every
RGB.
No, fuck the RGB. No, we're going to like Ace Hardware, getting the biggest, baddest lights they got wherever fucking what is it called, Harbor Freight, wherever, and getting the biggest lights. So anytime someone wants to come close, because I mean, I guess with the zombies doesn't work, but with the raiders, blind the fuck out of them.
Blind them with
Yeah,
lights.
but for that you're gonna need a pretty big generator on that bus. I don't know if that bus can handle, like the generator on a bus can handle all those lights.
Well, with the generator, you have the option to actually have like a subsequent generator on it. So
by the
Alright,
time
fuck
you
it,
get
so I'm
to
getting
Home
a generator
Depot,
too, I
everything's
guess.
gone, dude. I feel like that's gonna be the most rated store, Home Depot.
But but not people are gonna grab lights.
What are they gonna get, plywood?
What? It's the
yeah, when you
apocalypse.
board up the windows.
But like I'm saying, like big, like industrial lights, like things I'm
True,
gonna,
true.
like hook. Not like on a fucking
See,
flashlight.
the thing with
big
zombie
industrial
apocalypse,
lights.
like the primary hysteria, once it subsides, it's not the zombies you have to worry about, because
It's
whoever
every- yeah.
fucking survived, they survived for a
Yeah,
reason,
it's like
right?
it's like
did
the
you
initial
forget how-
shocks. Like if you survive the initial shock, after that, it's like
See,
apparent that we're gonna have to just survive each other.
That's what I'm saying, because we're
it's-
gonna be like the biggest
Yeah, it's the-
assholes
dude,
out there.
it's the thing that you least expect. Do you think it's not? It's lights? Nah. Do you forget what happened with Corona and toilet paper? Like what?
yeah, it's like
you're
you
right,
can't.
you're right, you
pe-
can't
if
expect
people can't
anything.
wipe their butt, it's like that's when things really go to pot. That's when things.
Yeah,
really
because
start.
I think I'm gonna just go for like some some canned food and stuff like that, some of the non-perishable shit.
Yeah.
Maybe some pasta. You can just add some water to it, get quick carbs. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, here we
Jay's
go.
gonna
Felix
go
has a
straight
good
for the
idea.
Chef
Cybertruck
Boyardee.
with a 50 cal, like a Tomlinson 50 cal on the top. That's like a free swiveling.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Oh,
Right,
yeah,
Jay?
just
We're
go-
My
going
only
straight
thing with
for the
electric
Boyardee.
cars-
Yeah.
My
Chef
only thing with the
Boyardee.
electric cars, you can't like siphon
Spaghetti-o.
the
Yeah.
car's gas.
No, I think you have to go gas or diesel.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're thinking about like all time, like it's like you basically get to go to the lot and be like, okay, this is the car that I'm getting. Again, I told you I had a slightly different opinion of this, so here's a few of my issues with that. So you go and you get like the truck or the school bus. So here's the problem: zombies, they swarm. Doesn't matter how big the car is, if you have them hanging off of like a big box where they can climb onto things and grab, it's gonna eventually stop it, because unless you're going like 70 miles an hour with that school bus, like eventually, like think about a crowd, you're not gonna be able to keep going through them. So I think it's the slow approach, but also an interesting car.
Well, you're not getting a bicycle. I can tell you that.
Well, no, you're not getting.
Don't fucking-
motorcycle.
Oh no!
No,
what's
what
the
I'm
name
doing-
of
You're
those
seeing Mickey
Home
riding
Depot
around in his
bicycles?
fucking-
You know,
So
like
here's what I'm
Robber.
doing. I'm
getting
getting
fucking hillies and shit.
I'm getting a. I told you this would be interesting, and I'll explain why this is the way to go. I'm getting a diesel Volkswagen Bug, round corners, nothing to really grab onto, and then I'm covering the entire outside in some type of lube, whether that's motor oil or Vaseline or something, so they can't grab onto it. So I can just slide through it, so that way they try to grab on, they can't grab onto anything. You got the diesel, so it's a pretty
Kind of like
robust.
throwing
those
a
older
hot dog
diesels.
through the hallway, huh?
Yeah, I'm going slow and steady through it so they can't grab onto me, and eventually I get out of the major city. I still got great gas mileage. I can run that thing on vegetable oil, so I can go to like the random, McDonald's in Arkansas where I'm hiding out, just grab the fry oil and run that thing on it. So that's where I'm going. Going small, steady, and
Yeah, but
heavily lubricated.
But in that case, you
Highly
only got
lubricated. Yo,
you only got yourself. You only got yourself, and then you also got another person, right? Like, and that's it. Like, to me, I think like
I just don't think the bug is
numbers. Like, you got
The
some
whole stuff. You know what I mean?
You got like
Fair enough.
10, 15
Nothing's
people
perfect.
with you.
Yeah.
15 people with you that are like able-bodied people that can just like bunch up. Like I feel like that would be a bigger group.
Sure.
And then you probably want to get a thicker guy in a bunch that can run fast, so you can just kind of push him towards the zombies
Yeah.
as you're escaping. You know what I'm saying?
You want the guy to like in Shaun of the Dead, when the one guy's jumping over the fences and the other guy just falls right through the other fence. I
Yeah.
think Corey sent me a meme about my jiu-jitsu being trash the other day, which was harsh but fair.
Alex is
it
driving a zombie suppository.
So Charles, that's exactly it. You just gotta accept the criticism, but also again, my slippery VW TDI bug is going right through that. I'm getting out of the city. That's where I'm going with that. And again, I think with the the school bus, you have to be concerned about, again, downfall of society. You got to really trust these people.
No, I mean, I'm not taking anybody I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm taking people that I know. I'm taking people that I know, and I'm also
that's
taking
not big
people.
enough for me. That's too big.
And I'm also taking people that are good with knives. Like moms. They're pretty good with knives, so they can just be doing some stabbing and shit. You know what I mean? While they're there. Yeah, I don't know. But, since it's a hypothetical situation, we'll never get to it.
But you also have to keep in mind, like, what kind of zombies are we talking about? Is this, The Last of Us?
Right?
Is
exactly.
It 28 days later? Like,
is it Z?
Are you watching
World War Z?
Are you guys
World War
watching
Z?
The Last of Us?
Oh, I played both video games.
So I haven't played the second one because I only had a PS4 and I was like, I'm not playing the game in 1080.
Yeah.
I am not making myself do that. I'm not doing that to myself, so I haven't done it yet.
For sure.
I'm gonna be the patient one and wait until it gets to PC.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like just now we're getting part 1 on PCs.
Absolutely.
I'll be on a long wait. I'm also
dude,
waiting for Ghost of Tsushima.
But I guess that brings up kind of an interesting segue. So what would be the best? Well, I mean, best zombies would be easy. That'd just be like Shaun of the Dead. But what would be the worst zombies to face off against?
World War Z. 100% World War Z.
World War Z.
I think Last of Us is right there with World War Z, especially since how they the cordyceps communicate over distance.
Yeah.
With the veins and stuff, it's even.
But they're not zombies; they're infected.
So yeah, you could say like not zombies, and that is a fair point. They are not. But also like the terrifying part about that whole series is like how kind of based in reality it is, because cordyceps do
actually
like take
control
over
ants,
like ants and slugs and stuff. Like that stuff actually happens.
Yeah.
Like
they flood your brain with hallucinogens.
Oh yeah.
And basically control you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, World War Z, man, those motherfuckers run, jump, like they're.
Have you not watched
fast.
Last of Us?
Yeah.
You exactly the clickers, bro. The bloater.
Oh, the bloater.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but those are only like far few in between. Like you get
the
these.
The clickers are everywhere, bro.
But
and
they
even
have-
the normal ones. Not even
So,
when they get to the clicker point.
I'll give Jay like the World War Z ones though, and I think that's where my really slippery VW Beetle would come in handy, because they're like
Swarming
they're
hard,
attacking everything and they're piling up on each other. It creates that friction. So like that's where like the school bus get bogged down. VW right.
It's a lot of windows, a lot of entrances.
No, that's what I'm saying. On the windows, instead of like doing bars, I maybe do like like metal sheets from inside.
Yeah.
With like cut out holes in it.
So did
what I mean?
did you watch Sunday's episode?
So I haven't watched past episode 4, so I haven't caught up.
You know what the crazy part is with you? Since you've played the games, I really don't feel bad because you don't know anything. You know more than I do.
That's my favorite part about it. It's like when everyone's talking about it, I'm just like,
oh, I know.
No one played the video game. Like I know what happened.
I know exactly what's. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty close to what happens.
Okay.
Especially the last episode that I watched on Sunday. It's like to the T, man. It's to the T. Like there's like really minor differences, but it's cool. They bring the act. If you've noticed this whole like bringing actors that played the people.
Absolutely.
They bring Ellie. Ellie plays Ellie's mom.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
But
That's what's up. So talking about movies, I have another one on here about movies, and it is kind of a thought experiment. So what do you think is the most realistic or interesting concept of a crime movie that's not based in like real life? Like not, not like Wolf of Wall Street. Like obviously it's a great movie, but like what do you mean? Like what crime movie, like where they commit a crime, do you find like the most interesting or intriguing that could actually happen that wasn't based on real events?
What crime movie?
Yeah,
a crime movie where somebody is
like a heist movie, or
is doing a
I'm
crime
a Subaru
and
fan,
getting
so
away
I really
with
like
it.
that
100% getting away
I can't
with
remember
it.
the name of it. The kid driving the Subaru, the all movie.
Oh, Baby Driver.
Yeah, I
Dude,
really like
Baby
that
Driver's dope.
I really like that movie,
except for the fact that Kevin Spacey was in it, and Kevin Spacey got canceled.
So any of the crime movies that like it's a heist of some sort that they steal a bunch of money and never get caught.
Let's just call it best heist movie.
Yeah, never get caught. I like that.
With Pedro Pascal, that they are all in some kind of military group, and they go rogue and they steal from the drug lord, whatever it is.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Pedro Pascal, what's his name as well, who plays Batman now?
Robert Pattinson?
No, that before that.
Ben Affleck?
Ben Affleck's in it.
Pedro Pascal and Ben Affleck.
I'm gonna look it up. I got it.
Yeah, no.
While he's looking that up, we got a new guest. Arthur's in the house.
Holla.
A resident engineer. so I'm definitely
Don't
taking
ask
him
me
with me
nothing
because he can like
engineering.
fix cars and shit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you got. I would also take my brother-in-law as a driveline engineer. So yeah, definitely got to have the people that can do the critical thinking. Of
Triple
being like-
Frontier.
I never saw that.
It's really good, actually.
Okay.
It's got Oscar Isaac as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Like-
in
Any of the Mission Impossible ones?
Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
Now, see, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I think like that was kind of like Britain's life. Like, yeah, it's exaggerated, but I
So,
think it's part of their life.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. That whole like block of Guy Ritchie movies, Alex, was fantastic. So you have Snatch, Lock, Stock, and I can't remember what the other one was that he did.
I know this is not a movie, and it's semi-true. Not semi, a little more than semi-true. I love the Peaky Blinders. I love
Peaky
that
Blinders is
show.
great.
I love that show.
What's his name? Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy's amazing. Yeah.
Great.
But see, Bullet Train is top tier. Bullet Train was good,
Yeah, it
but
was
it
good.
was, but it was nothing new because Kill Bill was the same way.
Yeah.
Kill Bill was the same way. Very gory, a lot of blood, a lot of killing going on. Like there are a bunch of movies like that. Like there's another movie that's on Netflix right now. It's this chick, she's like an agent or whatever. And then there's the movie Raid with the Asian dude, like where he's climbing the tower and whatnot. Like that was like that. But
Yeah, this movie's really good. Triple Frontier.
but Taxi or not Taxi,
yeah.
but
Yeah, watch that. That's...
not was it Taxi?
With Robert
And-
De Niro.
No. It was a movie with it was a French movie. It was a
Oh.
French movie, and
They made a recreation in U.S. one with Queen Latifah and.
yes,
Oh, the taxi
But
driver
it's-
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's a
Oh, yeah.
French-based one with
Yeah.
the Peugeot they driving. It's
yes, that
upgraded
was kind of
Peugeot.
cool. And then they
Yeah.
made another movie which they used parkour guys, the guys that parkour was made. So everyone pretty much knows what's parkour, and if you don't know, it's
Parkour.
basically parkour.
Parkour.
Yeah, and it's not the office parkour, right? Like the actual parkour is these people like literally climb up buildings like Prince of Persia, right? And then just like jump from one building to another.
Gotta
building.
stab the hourglass.
Yeah, and French were the first ones that got really big into it and all over the internet. No, we're talking about almost 20 years back, right?
I have the DVDs.
So
for
they
the
use
taxi
those.
movie.
They use those guys to make the movie, and in that movie, there's like separate blocks and things like that. There's a good block, bad block. There's
Sure.
like atomic bombs and things like that. But I like seeing movies where the bad guys get away with shit.
So in that vein, the movie that actually wrote like that kind of made me think about this. Have you ever seen the movie Inside Man
Yes.
that's a
with
good
Clive
one.
Owen? Oh my God, that is one of my all-time favorites because
That's a good one.
the bad guys are good guys, but you think they're bad guys the whole time, and then they end up kind of being the good guys because you know the other guy was taking money from some, let's say, unsavory people in Germany in the 40s, and you know kind of gets his comeuppance, which he deserved for many years. But that one was absolutely wild, where you know builds the false wall in the bank vault and then just scurries out.
Yeah. Well, see here, I have a very unpopular opinion that majority of big businesses, like for example, let's talk about Microsoft, right? He came out with the Windows, which was like the original Windows right after Norton Commander, right? He came out with the Windows and he created the folders and whatnot. After that, after he created the company, he pretty much would just
Thank you, baby.
patent everything that was created by an engineer, and he pretty much like cornered the market.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, any of these companies that become big, or they're usually doing something that's one way or another way is illegal. Otherwise, like in a legal way, you can't really become very big. Even if you lose, even if you use all the tax laws and all the loopholes that there are, you're still like the system is not designed for you to get up there, right? Like you kind of have to go the illegal route to get.
Well,
where
I
you
mean,
need to go.
you look at any of the big top players in any industry, and it's going to be rife with, there's going to be blood on their hands. You know,
Yes.
you don't get to be, Microsoft and not have, a few skeletons in your closet. And just look like what happened with Bill Gates and Paul Allen. I mean, he basically tried to cut, him out of all of his vested stock and buy him out in the 80s when he knew that they were going to be the sole like provider of like OS systems for, basically anything that was like running BASIC and other type of coding programs and was just like, okay, I know this, and I'm trying to buy you out. And good thing Paul Allen didn't. And he's unfortunately died. One of the richest men in the world. But yeah, and it's sometimes it's a little bit disingenuous.
Unfortunately, died. No, I'm joking.
Well, I
joking.
mean,
Theory.
Paul Allen was a fascinating guy. I mean, do you know much about Paul Allen?
No.
The number 2 at Microsoft. So essentially, he was a lifelong bachelor, and just basically kind of did like what anyone. He kind of had that life where like he did, he kind of did like the Batman thing. He built the world's largest private yacht, which was the largest yacht for a long time. It's called the Octopus. It's still out there, and his trust actually, he called it the Octopus. Yeah. And it had and one of the coolest things, it had a helicopter on it that was painted in the livery of the old like black and white Windows logo, and then when they updated the OS, he painted it with like the rainbow colored one. But like he was a big aviation, was one of the largest private collectors of planes in the world. And basically he just would rent out this huge luxury yacht when he wasn't using it free of charge for like scientific exploration. Like all these scientists get to go out and like explore the Galapagos on a 300-foot mega yacht with a helicopter and everything. But he was super cool, man. Like his life story was pretty wild. Unfortunately, he died of lymphoma. I want to say back in like 2013 or 14. And there was a whole like kind of like issue with his will, kind of like what was the super eccentric billionaire that they based the part of Fallout New Vegas on? Howard Hughes. He kind of was like Howard Hughes when he died, almost intestate, and there was a big fight over his like $80 billion fortune.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you guys ever see the documentary on McAfee?
Oh,
that guy was a bachelor for sure.
Dude, that guy was bonkers.
That guy was insane.
Like, fled to Mexico, murdered someone, got away with it, was basically tweeting like, I'm not going to suicide myself, dies a few days later. That thing was wild. But talking about money, one of the other things I had written on here, which is, again, kind of another interesting thought experiment. If you were given $1 billion, right, and you had, and the only way that you got to keep anything is that you had 1 day to spend it, 24 hours. Do you think you could spend $1 billion in 24 hours?
Yeah.
When you say spend it, what do you mean?
So, I mean, aside from just going on and
Is the challenge to spend it all?
Yeah. So
So
besides,
if I don't spend it all,
you don't get to keep anything. So besides like the cheating, what I would consider cheating is just getting on like opening up a stock portfolio and just hitting buy on like,
Everything.
$1 million on every single thing. Like you have to go out and spend it. Now you can buy jets.
That's what I would
You
go
can buy
for.
property,
Jets, yachts.
but also, but
No, wait a minute. Does the signing of the
then what?
contracts count? Let's say you sign a contract, that means this money is gonna go to them, but not today. Maybe in a month.
But the thing is, you said spend $1 billion in a day. I feel like you can't do anything in a day.
So let's say this.
You can't buy. You can't
No,
buy.
you
You
definitely
can't go
spend
buy
it.
a
So
yacht.
let's shift the goalpost a little bit. Let's say you have 30 days to close on everything.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like
Close on
to
everything.
acquire
Sure.
everything.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, like you talk about
It's
like
hard.
huge properties, like you might not be getting a 30-day close. So like
That's why
Well,
I
you
was
should-
going with that.
From what I think from what I've seen, and I don't know too much, but I feel like if you just put an extra bump on what you're paying for, they'll be like, yeah, we'll get it to you then.
I would
You know,
go
kind of
to
thing. You know what I mean?
Dubai, the car dealership, and buy like all the fucking Bugattis.
No,
and
so
Ferraris.
what I would probably do is probably
But they
immediately
still-
look up the hottest markets in the world, and then fly in there and say, I got the money. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to build. I would just buy a bunch of apartment
I
complexes.
thought Jay was gonna say a hot model there for a
Nah,
second.
fuck that. There's gonna be so many of those hot models after I get that $1 billion. We don't worry about that. They're just gonna be product of the money, right? So it just
I
run
think
through them and call it a day.
Dan Bilzerian stuff.
Yeah, so I would just get the big ass properties, apartment complexes, and things like that. Close on those, and then either rent them out, like maybe 20% rent, 20% sell, 20% Airbnb that shit, 20% something else,
Sure.
just to get the passive
But a
income
billion,
floating.
man. I feel like
So-
even what
It's
you're
hard.
talking about, you're still
hard.
maybe at what, 50?
Yeah, I think
50
No.
million?
No, the apartment complexes that they're building in St. Pete, each one is in $100 million.
So, but
And
here's
that's
the,
in St. Pete.
But here's the problem, though, is that you have to find stuff for sale because if you have this month to close, you could go out and like just put it out into the ether and say, I got $1 billion. I have to close in XYZ and just see what comes to you. But like, you know, you're talking about, you know, like if you're talking about $50 million apartment complexes at a pop, that's 200 apartment complexes you got to buy and find.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot to do.
Yes.
You know, like
be
that's
scrambling in 20.
yeah. I
At
think
that point, because I mean, I'm saying I'm buying, right? Like there's a lot of companies that are currently in that, right? And they're looking for investments, right? Like let's say Kiyosaki is part of this gigantic fund, this REIT fund, right? Like he invests his money into, and that's what they're doing. They're going out there and then buying. So I would just buy a portion of that REIT. Would that be against the rules?
well, so the problem with the REIT is that they have capitalization metrics, so you couldn't just plug as much money as you wanted into that. But I think the better way to frame that question is, what do you think the most amount of money you could spend in a day would be?
The most amount you spend in a day.
Just
I
straight
mean-
up, like as me, like right now, basic human being.
I mean, buying the biggest yacht in the world is owned by what's his name? Well, it was the Russian dude, but now they're saying there's
Roman
another one
Abramovich.
in Emirates.
Well, right now, currently the one being built is for Bezos. That he had the whole thing. That story was hilarious. They wanted to take down the bridge.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is like
Get it
It
out.
would take you
Ab-
to settle on such a big
Abramo-
thing.
well,
Yeah,
That's the thing, right? Yeah.
Abramovich's yacht, a ship, that's already close to $1 billion right there,
Yeah,
just
but-
one
Well,
boat.
it's like 400 million. The one you're talking about is called the Eclipse.
Well,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, it's a
I
bad
was
boat.
looking at. Well, we can look it up, but
Yeah,
I
it's
know
like
there's one that they're
400
building right now in Dubai. Well, there's currently in Dubai, and that one is $686 million.
Yeah, but is that gonna close in one day? That's the question.
It doesn't matter. You're just saying, I want this. Here's the money. I'm transferring it over. I want it. Build it whenever you build it.
But he's saying to close out in 30 days. To
But
get it
You
in
close the
30
deal.
They-
30
close
days,
the
just 'cause
deal?
It's not there yet. You still close the deal and spend the
See,
money.
this is why I love this because it always brings up like the inherent like issue on like what is realistic. I think for me, if I was gonna say, hey, here's the amount of money I could spend in a day, I think I could probably get through.
5-10 million maybe.
I could probably like 20 million would be tough.
Yes.
I think 10 million is doable.
Couple of supercars, hypercars.
Yeah, cover supercars.
But then again, that's the same thing. Go try to find a supercar right now. Go try to find a newest supercar. Like right now, if you want to go
But
buy
think about it,
911 Turbo, you can't find one.
Bro,
You
go to
can, but
Dubai,
is
they
they're
got
more
cars
expensive.
lined
You
up,
can
bro.
you can't literally right now.
Bro,
Yes,
but
you
I'm
brand
sure
new
if you
911
have,
Turbo,
if you
you
have the
can't.
Buy
millionaire
used.
money, if no, but
Well,
if you
yeah,
but if I'm sure if you have
You
the
can.
millionaire money, you can find it.
You can go to the Dubai. I just watch a car
yeah, but
show.
you have only one day to find it. Since we don't have the connection,
have
this
it.
you're gonna
yeah,
have
that
to deal
flight
with
that
what you
flight to
got.
Dubai is a bitch.
No, you just call and say,
There
hey,
goes
I'm
your
sending
day.
you money. That car is mine.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would just
spend it
call
on a
the
private jet,
first.
though.
I would just call the first jet company and say, listen, I want to buy this jet. Here's the money. Where do I wire it? Next, I would call a company that services the jets. Here's 1 year up front. Next, I would call the company that would give me the flight attendants and a pilot. Here's money up front for a year.
You'll be
You know, same
scrambling.
thing with the boat, gigantic yacht. Here's the money up front for a year. You know what I mean?
And a
And
quick thing, talking about the because you guys keep
Case of
mentioning
Red Bull
supercars.
later.
What would be the one like sports car you guys would buy?
911 Turbo.
So I think you have
Brand
to.
new 911
I think for
Turbo,
this
hands
one,
down.
because
Too
I'm a
low on
huge
this-
car guy, I
Too
think you have
low,
to break
too
it
low on
down.
the spectrum.
I think you have to break it
911
down to
Turbo.
new car,
Bugatti.
and you can say anything other than like 1 or 2 model years old. Like let's say anything older than 3 years, and then new is the 2 years.
Bugatti, Ferrari,
Nope.
Lamborghini.
None of that shit. 911 Turbo.
That's too
What
low.
911 Turbo S, 911
Turbo S.
Do you
But they
do
don't
you want
hold
the
value.
Turbo S or do you want the GT2?
No.
I was about to say
No,
GT2,
Turbo S. Straight up
GT2
Turbo S.
RS. Ooh.
No.
all-wheel drive.
Straight up Turbo S.
Okay, that's fair. That's
Straight up Turbo S. Because guess what? I'm going to drive this shit every day. The GT3 or GT2, you cannot drive them on a daily
the
basis.
GT3
Give
is
me
like
one.
the
I'm not
track
saying
car.
I didn't say
Give me
that. That's
one.
not part of the curriculum. I
Watch
said
me.
Watch
you
me.
have to buy
Challenge
one
accepted.
sports car.
That's what I'm saying. If I'm buying a sports car, I want to drive that
Okay.
bitch on a daily basis.
I'd rather
I don't
do
want to
that.
keep that shit in the
Nah,
garage. I
I'd
don't want to
drive
do
a
any of
GT3
that.
I think we can we can accept Jay. So like okay, so the 911 Turbo S is your new car that you're buying.
Yeah, 100.
So let's say call
Either
it.
that or just put the
250 grand.
deposit for the newest Tesla Roadster.
So then let's say okay,
Yeah,
like
we're
what is
coming
what is your quote class? Just older car, like
Older
anything,
car,
Yeah.
I would get
A Ferrari GTO. Old one, though. Like the old one. Old
F50.
Oh, F40.
Nice
F50.
choice. The F50.
F40.
Which color are you going with? Red,
F-
yellow, or black?
red. It's got to be red.
Got to be the Pininfarina red. Nice choice.
F40.
I really like the old
F40.
I'm
car.
a big fan of the old
That's my all-time
SLSs.
favorite.
Yeah, no, that's a great choice. So let's go around the horn. So, new car and old car.
F40, old car, new car, probably a Chiron, Bugatti Chiron.
Good choice. Good choice.
Old car for the sports car. Old, actually, I have a new opinion. Instead of the SLS, I'll take a 70s Porsche Whaletail.
Okay.
The twin turbo 80s with the big black plastic. That's a great choice. My uncle had one. That big
Nine,
nose up.
no, I thought it was 971.
I don't remember.
Something
Yeah,
like that, right?
you
Yeah,
better
it's-
grease
or
them,
931,
grease them
something like that.
elbows to get those windows down.
Yeah, you do, right? But I don't care. I got the big Whaletail on the back.
Oh, that thing is so dope.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's
so,
a
so
company that
new
makes them
car.
nice.
88 Whaletail Porsche. Great choice.
New car. Goddamn, too many things.
On a Pinto budget.
Not a
This
Subaru.
is not not my Subaru. No, I know it's not that expensive, but one of my dream cars is a wagon CTSV manual.
That's a.
I mean, it
great
hasn't come
choice.
out in the last few years. Last year they made that car was 2014. Still relatively.
Well, so
newish.
you can't get the wagon, but the Blackwing does
Yeah.
come in a manual.
Yeah.
Which
Oh
is-
yeah, it still comes in a
which-
manual.
which
Yeah,
is a
that's crazy.
Baddie.
Yeah,
So if I was gonna have to say my new car,
that's a good daily right there.
I'm almost in the same vein with Jay over here, but I would go with the GT2 RS Porsche.
Yeah.
I would get that in that crazy blue color that they have, that teal.
Yeah.
That shit is wild with the green calipers. I'm going like all on it. Like I love the super bright and weird stuff. So
But you drive that shit
mean,
on
you're
a
driving-
daily
so-
basis. You
so
can't.
that- so
You're
the
driving
G-
a car
So
like
the
that,
GT2 RS
Put a
is
filler.
not the super track one. It's still leather appointed seats, air conditioning, power windows. The GT3 RS is the one that has the factory roll cage, like carbon fiber
yeah, I
bucket
just don't want to
seats.
fucking see a roll cage, man.
Yeah, no, that's the GT3 RS is like the track one.
Seatbelt handle.
But doesn't the
Yeah.
GT2 RS make more power?
Yeah, no, the GT2 RS makes more power than the
Because the
Turbo
GT3
S.
RS is, if I'm not
Track
mistaken, it's
car.
NA, isn't it? Like nasty NA motor.
No, the GT2 RS is twin turbo.
No, the GT3 RS.
Yeah, the GT3 RS is naturally
NA.
aspirated.
Yeah,
But
right?
here's-
yeah,
here-
no, GT2 RS twin turbo, like 700, almost 700 horse, right?
No, I think they're making like they're not hard to make that kind of power out of, but I want to say they're like 570, something like that. I mean, Porsches, keep in mind, they're tiny little cars. You don't need to make a ton of power to haul ass
Yeah.
in them. So I'm going GT2 RS in that crazy blue color, and then for the old one,
Oh, I see it. Right when I type it up, the first one that comes up is in that blue.
yeah, that's bad. The F40 was on my wall in the Pininfarina red. That has to go.
690. I told you, almost 700 horsepower. Yeah,
Damn, that's awesome. I would say,
No.
but like,
553 torque.
The-
Oh, damn, that thing is nasty.
but I'm hard pressed because I'm a huge JDM
Lay
fan.
down,
Going with like the R34 Nismo R Godzilla and that Skyline Gray.
Yeah.
That was also on my wall right next
So
to
I'm a bigger fan of the OG Godzilla of the R32.
Okay, I can respect
I
that.
love the front end. I love the rear end. There's something about
those,
it.
Those are bad. If I'm gonna have to go like what's your favorite JDM car?
And so I've always said, like, if I were to, like, I want to go to Japan and bring back a car, right? Like, that's like a dream of mine. It's probably be like an S15.
Okay, yeah, I would probably have to go with the, I don't know, like an original Celica or like the original like Super or something. Like
Yeah.
really,
You need
really
to
good
watch do you know Car Wow, the channel?
Which one?
Car Wow? Car Wow?
Car Wild?
Wow. Car Wow.
Car Wow WW? No.
W-O-W.
No, I haven't watched that one.
Look it up and look at the latest. He visited like Dubai. This dealership, they have like 110
Oh, yeah, I
million
seen
dollars
that.
worth of hypercars and supercars.
Yeah.
Dude, they go over. So the guy's asking like, which one holds like value and it's gonna like go excellent in value. So literally, they have a Supra, like a '92. Like what is that, Mark III?
The-
Mark IV?
no,
That Mark IV.
The Mark
92 would be Mark 3, I think, right?
Yeah, Mark IV was 93 to 98.
Okay, so maybe it's a Mark IV.
Yeah,
Mark
the
IV,
bubble
and
body.
they have a GTR, which is R34,
Okay.
but it's some special model. And he was saying that car is worth like 800,000. There's some that worth millions, and they're waiting for 2024 because that
25 year for
25
antique car
year,
to be able to bring it over
and
here.
then all these dealerships have been buying and just sitting
You
on
know,
them.
me and my friends,
these
my
cars,
friend
and they're gonna
Kevin,
start
we're gonna
selling.
have him on next week. Actually, he's got a CDL. He drives trucks. We have like a back and forth on whether or not like the cars will go up in price or down in price. JDM cars when that comes legal, because like everybody's gonna want that, and other things are gonna go in less demand, or like in general, JDM's gonna go in higher demand because of that.
Well, I think it's gonna be.
Who knows though, right?
Well, first of all, you're gonna have to
See
be
that
able,
here,
you're
right?
gonna be able
Yeah,
to
that's
find those
important.
cars, right? Because you gotta memorize, like some of these cars, half of them been
Well, so
destroyed, half of
for
them
example,
been wrecked,
you
half
have
of them been
you have
somewhere else.
companies like Montu Motors that Arthur here actually showed me here in Oldsmar that import these cars and will like fix them up, put them back to like OEM spec, and then sell them here. So
Yeah.
you, like over there, you can find Supras, GTRs, like some of the old like really nice Corollas, like cool shit like that. They have all kinds of stuff actually.
But you have to be I think you have to be a super collector to go for a JDM car, you know, because when you have that kind of money to invest, like I don't think people are looking at the JDM. First, they're looking at the Ferraris, Lamborghinis, you know, Porsches,
for example,
Maseratis, and not
I
McLarens.
see. Okay. We all see an R34 and we'll freak out more than a Ferrari on a daily. Kind
So
of thing.
here's-
for us, but not for like the daily person. You know what I
But
mean?
I think you have to look at where the wealth has been generated over the past 30 years. And, you know, traditionally you had, you know, high finance, bankers, industrialists, and they were into, you know, the fine Italian
Oh, by the
stuff.
way, part of that billion would be investing in some badass watches.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Badass watches.
Oh, yeah. So, like, you have these people that find this
Get
value
my
in
hands
it.
in a Grandmaster Champ from Patek Philippe. Hey, take it. Take
Oh,
my
yeah.
money.
Okay, grand complications from Paddock. I'm buying everything from Blancpain, Audemars Piguet. It's going to be. I'm going to clean out some
$100 million
places.
Yeah,
later.
you walk in Mayors and be like, listen, I'm buying everything you got here, and I want everything you got in the back in the safe. I
Yeah.
want that too.
Yeah, except,
know what I
except you
couldn't
go
wait
to
to
Mayors
do?
and you only get 3 watches because they
is
never
what you're
have
into
anything
as well.
in stock.
I couldn't wait like to have that kind of money to get like the most badass like that headset from
yeah.
Sennheiser. I
The
would,
Orpheus.
right away. I want it. I want it.
Oh yeah.
So here,
$4,000
by the way,
here's
before
10.
we continue,
Yeah, right.
hey
I want
guys,
it tomorrow.
hey, where we at with likes and view?
We're
So
good.
hey guys, hit that like button for us, so we're just gonna continue this conversation. As you can see, it's pretty polarizing. We're talking shit out here with $1 billion. None of us even know what $1 billion looks like. But anyway,
3
Probably
commas.
probably
Yeah.
fill this room.
yeah. So yeah, go ahead and hit that like button. All right, cool. Sorry, go ahead.
So, but here, what I'm saying is that, so like, what some people don't realize is that all this wealth, like, think about all the tech wealth. You have these, you know, these, you know, for lack of a better term, like the nerds made all the money over the past 30 years, and they were the video game all this culture that came out of Japan, where all of these cars are originated from. Like that culture was very like carried over. Like, you know, you have Nintendo and Sega and Sony and all these people that, you know, really pushed a lot of this technology that a lot of these people were very into, and a lot of that culture around their cars. So now that these people are coming of age, and yeah, they like the Ferraris and everything, but you know, they always had that poster of that Nismo R34 on their wall. They had the old South. They like that stuff. So I think that where all this wealth and these billions of dollars are being, you know, accrued by
Yeah,
these
but
people
see,
is.
I'm a strong believer. That's fine. You get your R Nismo and this like that, but like when you are in the boardrooms, when you have those positions, right? Like people won't even give you the time of the day if you're not wearing the proper watch. You know what I mean? So like all that is yes, but like you get a glass ceiling. You know what I mean with that. So there's gonna be a time where like especially if you're progressing with your career, that you're gonna have to come in with, because you know, like yeah, you're a CEO of your tech company, but then you have to go and meet with board members of a certain bank to get X amount of money from them, and they're not even going to give you time of the day because you're not wearing the proper Patek Philippe, you know, instead of wearing a Casio, and you're coming in with a Casio, you know. I think there is a,
To that
like
point,
there's acceptance to the group,
but I
right?
think-
Like you have to have these things correctly in place.
But I think with that point, like you can show up in your S class with that. I think it doesn't. I think the people see the, like, you know, getting the nice car, but I think where they're collecting and where, because the collecting of the cars is the personal pleasure, I think.
Well, no, yeah, but that's what video game deserves a remake remaster. Okay, that's a good one actually.
Oh.
Talk about that, yeah. So I think yes, but when like that would be like the Japanese JDM cars on my list would be maybe like the 5th, 6th, 7th, maybe 10th
You're not.
on a list.
You're not into it. Like for example.
No, trust
I-
me. I like fast cars just as any
Yeah,
other
but,
guy.
like, there's
I just
a-
think there are better
There's
fast
like a
cars.
culture almost around cars. Like for example, I didn't get to watch until I was a little older, but like shows like Initial D bring like this mindset of like these are the cars, these are the cool thing, and they're not so far out like Ferrari, like Lamborghini. That's the
That's
point
what
where
I'm
as a
talking
kid,
about.
where you can be like, well, I can one day get that because it's still a Nissan, it's still a Toyota.
Yeah.
So
That's what I'm trying to say. It's like that's what it comes down to. It's like right now Kias and Hyundais make great cars. Bottom line, it still says Kia
yeah.
and Hyundai on it.
It's
Even though
literally-
some of those Kias and Hyundais, like look at the Veloster N, bro. That thing you throw it on a track, it performs, it puts up good time, it sounds insane, but it's still a fucking Hyundai. You know what I mean? Although I like the car a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that's fair.
I
So
would take a Integra Type R JDM though.
yeah, that's a great car.
And
I
then
really like
what?
S2000.
Okay, you took
Like,
that.
you had an S2000 before.
you had an S2K?
Yeah.
The F20 such a good motor.
This color.
Mine is a 22.
Oh, the
Mine
color
was
is
a
like
22.
the Porsche.
Yeah, mine's the second generation.
I
No,
know.
it was a sky
no,
blue.
no.
It was a Suzuka.
Yeah,
blue.
but again, S2000, great, awesome car. I don't know why they don't bring that back. For example, because there is, as far as the two-door sports cars, there's really nothing out
You know,
there that can perform
I
at the
don't think
Porsche
Honda-
Boxster or
I
Cayman
think if Honda
level.
were to come back with the S2000, they would want to like put it too high, like past the Miata, past the BRZ, and I think it wouldn't sell.
It would be like in the.
it
It
would
would
be
be
too
like a
expensive.
Supra.
Exactly,
I
it'd be
saw
too
it.
Well, no, I
expensive
think
for not
Supra
enough.
is priced decent. You know,
It's too expensive for not enough. No
Yeah,
way.
but basically they I just feel like they didn't do like what they kind of promised. They basically were like, "Hey BMW, can we
Yeah.
buy the
Can we
can we
use
buy
your
the
mo-
can
your
we buy
motor?
the
Thank you."
the Z4?"
yeah,
and
but
put it in
let's
our
let's
car?
talk about BMW Z4. You know, like BMW's engine,
the car looks
transmission,
amazing, by the
and a
way.
rear
Supra
end
looks
are
freaking
probably
great.
one of the most reliable.
But for Toyota not using their
I
own
wouldn't
inline
say-
six.
I wouldn't say.
Puh.
No, the chassis is the most reliable. It's the electronics that BMWs fail all
Yeah,
the time.
BMW shitty
The
electronics.
actual
the
manufacturing.
motor like the
bulletproof.
N64,
Yeah,
something
the
like that.
N64 is
Like
bad.
they
Maybe
amazing,
old-
right?
maybe
Those
old
that N
BMW.
series motor, amazing. Like that's why
Bulletproof,
all these
bro.
guys love the 335, 135. They all love those cars.
Yeah, except ask any like 2008 M5 owner and just say
Yeah.
Vanos. So watch him just.
Yeah.
Yeah, so see,
A buddy of mine
here's
had the V10 M6. Oh my god. that thing
here's
is
here's an
fast.
opinion that I have. Okay, so let's look at Toyotas, right? Like Toyotas are considered as reliable cars, right? But then again, if you look in reality, Toyota nowadays doesn't really have a sports car. And who's usually that buys a Toyota? It's not the gearhead guy that wants the speed and things like that. So if they're not into it, how are they going to drive the Toyota Camry? Pretty slow, pretty normal, so they're not really pushing it to the limit. But who buys that BMW M4 or M3? Somebody that wants to like step on
Get
it,
the
right?
ticket, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what happens. Like if you took a Corolla and a Camry and stepped on it like you would step on a Z3 or a Z4, yeah, it would probably last a little bit longer than Z3, Z4, but you would still have issues with
Dude,
that car
that
as well.
that new Corolla GR.
GR.
Only thing that ruins it for me is 3-cylinder. That's the only thing that ruins it for me.
We actually
'Cause-
had this
'cause
conversation.
How good is it gonna sound?
It's 3-cylinder?
Yeah.
It is 3-cylinder.
Inline
Bro,
it
look-
makes 300. It makes 300
That's a
horsepower.
lot of-
All-wheel drive. It's a small little car. Yeah,
But look-
3-cylinder turbo.
look-
of course,
look-
for it to make 300 horsepower,
That's a
with
lot of
3-cylinder-
horsepower per hole.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Look, horsepower per
Look
hole.
at Veloster, bro. It's a 4-cylinder, but sounds nasty. And that was an accident. Did you know that whole sound was
I
an
don't want to
accident?
hear it. No 4-cylinder sounds like a Subaru. I don't hear it.
What do you mean?
Yeah, because you
The
can't hear the you
Veloster,
can't
bro,
hear the
with all the
rod bearings
crackling and
going through the
popping?
turbo.
Yes.
Yeah. The
Shots fired.
That's exactly what happened to my motor.
Yeah,
My
Oh,
Rod
I know.
bearings
It's your body. You have the Bubble Bobby wagon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I
09 WRX, yeah.
so I love those cars because I have an FJ, and when I first got it, I wasn't in love with the FJ, so I was toying around with trading it in, and I almost traded it in on a black on black.
They
wagon.
spin bearings all the time.
Yeah, well, it's the nature of the boxer engine. Like it's just like
I swapped the motor for...
Except when you buy a Porsche. Just saying.
No, listen, wait.
Yeah, just saying.
I bought a JDM Legacy motor that comes with the closed deck instead, so I won't have that head gasket low efficiency bullshit
For
problem.
now, for
you
now.
still have to pull the motor to do the spark plugs.
No, I've done it. Not on mine. It's got enough space.
All
you
I'm
pull
saying-
you pull the intake out on the other side. You pull the battery out on the other side.
You
and
know how
can do
many
it.
times
Hey,
I
I've seen
cursed
the
when
same guy
taking
who had the
something off that
M6.
car?
Yeah.
The same guy who had the M6. He had a shop for a while,
Yeah.
and he did my my spark plugs and gaskets without taking the motor. without doing all that.
Listen, this is why
Give
I'm
him a
saying.
medal.
His hands
Black
are like,
magic.
His hands are
Give
like
him
this
a
for like
medal.
4
Give him a
hours.
medal.
But, yeah.
Yeah, this is what I'm
Yeah,
saying. This is
that
why I
car
would get
sucks.
the Porsche because all of these things that we're talking about, Porsche is literally designed for a
Yes.
daily drive, and you can step on it.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
probably balanced correctly and shit.
Well, because it's a Porsche. You know, you can't say that about Ferrari. You can't say that about Lamborghini. You can't say that about McLaren. Worst fucking car design ever. But you can say that about Porsche.
Except for the F1.
F1, come on, bro.
But the
Still,
F1 had a
iconic.
BMW engine. So
McLaren, there's so many.
V10? Was it V10 or V12?
it was
Have a good night, Charles.
I don't know, was it a V?
Peace out, Charles.
Thank you
Was
for
it-
coming, brother.
See you, Charles. Wasn't it? Was it V10 or V12? I can't remember.
don't
But it was a BMW powertrain.
Yeah.
Best car.
Nah, man,
the
Lexus
best
is just the same
sounding car
Corolla.
ever.
Bro,
The
that
Lexus
Lexus, bro, chill.
Big facts.
LFA.
LFA, best sounding
Oh,
car.
yes.
But they
ever.
couldn't-
I don't care what you say.
Yeah, but they couldn't sell them.
they can't because
do
it
you
was
mean?
too fucking expensive, bro.
That's
They
what I'm
sold
trying to say
all of
because it's
them.
still a Toyota.
They only made so
it was
many.
too expensive.
It's still a freaking
They
Toyota.
worth
But they-
millions
they-
now.
that
Toyota
car
had double the Ferrari's price.
Sounds amazing. That they
Yeah,
partnered.
okay,
they
fine.
partnered with Yamaha to make that motor to get it to rev to
Hey,
whatever.
watch out,
like,
Eric. Watch
rev
out with
super
that
high,
talk,
whatever it is.
bro.
Yeah,
I'ma
but see,
fuck you up
at the end of the day, I'm telling you, see, ultimately, see that Porsche, like, because I thought about this for long and hard. You know
That
what
would
I mean?
definitely be a car I would
Porsche-
buy. Like
Porsche
top
is
10
Porsche.
of my list, LFA. 100%. It's probably worth like 2.3 at this point.
Buy-
I'm still riding
But
in a damn Toyota,
If we're
bro.
throwing one in there,
I don't care. It sounds
I would have
nasty.
to throw in a Ford GT in there too. Any of them.
Another
Any of them.
decent car. I've driven a couple of the older ones. You know, when we did
GT40?
valet, yeah, we used to drive a bunch of different cars. Like, I mean, there's several cars that we haven't driven. This is back in the day, right? Like Bugatti would be one of them. Koenigsegg would be another one. Like any of those, like
Super
Really
hypercars.
crazy
super
ones,
hyper
yeah.
cars we didn't drive, but everything from Lamborghinis all the way to Ferraris to McLarens, you name it, we've drove them. And I think Ford GTs are like pretty cool, eclectic looking, even if they're new, you know. But Porsche, man, it rides like
So-
a John Deere, uncomfortable as fuck, but it rides.
Yeah,
It
it
rides
really-
like a John Deere.
Yeah, I had the worst experience being a valet. Man, that was a terrible job.
So I had the experience of getting in a Model X Plaid, and you know, like I actually like getting it in Plaid mode because a cousin of mine got one.
That fucking thing is insane.
And
I've heard
insane.
nothing but good things.
And it was the SUV, wasn't
yeah,
even
it's the Model
the,
X,
Model
so
X,
it's
yeah.
SUV. It's a little heavy. It's heavier than like a Model S per se, so not as fast. But dude,
Yeah,
like
right.
it just, you know, like I've been in some fast cars. Like for example, a really other fast car I've been in that's like nasty from the jump is a RS5, Audi RS5. Nasty from the jump, right? Like gives you that butterflies in your stomach, but like it's just like for a second. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
once the car gets off that like really hard initial like hit of boost from zero, it kind of like settles down.
Lets it go, yeah.
No. The Tesla, if your foot is on that gas
It
or
keeping
that
it,
accelerator, that feeling is just there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
That's why I said the Tesla Roadster would be the next one
Yeah.
after the Porsche but I don't know when he's gonna come out with the damn thing. So this is just one of those things,
Yeah.
you know.
Hey, can I say a disclaimer? Eric, the one that commented, so he does a lot of golf cart stuff. He's got a fast golf cart. I don't know, it goes like 70 miles an hour.
Jesus
So-
fucking
so
Christ!
he-
That on the highway
so
with
he
that
calls
golf
me-
cart.
He
That
said
is
he
not a
calls
golf
me. He's like,
cart.
bro,
Shoulda
I
died.
want to make my golf cart faster. You're an engineer. Can you? I'm like, bro, you're already going 70 miles an hour, popping wheelies.
Yo.
You want to go faster?
My Honda Grom did not even go that fast.
Bro, that cart is fast, bro.
You want to talk about stupid fast
Jesus.
things? Motorcycle. It blows
Street
me away that
legal,
you can
too.
walk into a dealership as a 16-year-old and buy a motorcycle that goes 180 miles an hour.
Yeah,
Boosa,
that's stupid.
let's
yeah.
fucking do it.
Yeah, that's
like
stupid.
the new
45
R1M.
miles per hour. Jesus
45?
fucking Christ! That's a
Now,
66
let's talk how we can make it faster.
Now
The
he's
golf
like,
cart?
fuck it,
So
yeah.
is it an electric golf cart?
Yes.
So
He's got upgraded batteries, controllers, a bunch of shit.
So, well, I mean, I guess what size, like, how big are the motors? Are they?
Eric, put some details, bro. I don't know all the specs, you know.
I mean,
They
ideally,
run
if
like
you,
600 amps through the.
I mean,
freaking
ideally,
controller,
if you
some
ever
weird,
saw
crazy
when
shit.
Cletus McFarland dropped the R6 motor in his golf cart,
Oh,
that's the way to do it. Just find a
Yeah.
wrecked R6 and be like, doop.
yeah.
Or
That was
there
nasty.
was a thing where I watched somebody put a Hayabusa engine into a smart car.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw those
Hayabusa
videos
into
where
a
it was like
smart car.
dogging Ferraris and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
And did you watch Boosted Boys with the?
Oh yeah, I love Boosted
with
Boys.
the-
70 volt
with the
lithium,
twin
9K,
turbo-
600 amp.
Yes.
Jesus fucking
Goddamn,
Christ.
it's the white.
He can power his house for a day.
70
No
volt
problem.
lithium. Okay.
600 amp.
Yeah, I mean,
He
from
power
there,
his
I mean,
house with that
You
shit.
kill somebody with that shit.
I mean, if you want to keep it electric, I mean, weight. I mean, it's hard to do weight reduction, but I mean, you could.
Bigger
I mean,
motors, bro.
ideally, I mean, do you want 0 to 60 or do you want top end? Because
It
you could.
already does wheelies, bro. You don't
I mean-
need
You don't
to
need
do
0 to
60.
60.
I mean, you're gonna have it. I mean, at that point, it would be gearing. You know, you could do some type of like gearbox.
Or you could just pull the Tesla motors and put them in
I
a
told them.
fucking-
That sounds
I
expensive.
told them, I
Yeah.
said, let's take the batteries, put in the back, and put some.
Talking
motors.
about motorsports and cars, RIP to Ken Block.
Oh yeah,
That
was
super sad.
tragedy. Yeah, that's
It really sucks we're not going to be able to see, like, continue this back and forth of him and Travis.
800 pounds.
Yeah.
And to not see that man drive again. That shit sucks.
yeah,
That
that's
shit really sucks.
that was a real heartbreaker. I mean, it's anytime you see like motorsports people, have a tragic accident or something, it's it's sad, but at the same time, like, they died with a smile on their face at least. It's when you see him go out by like
Doing crazy
he was
shit.
skiing.
yeah, well,
He was
it was
skiing.
a
I don't know what that.
snowmobile
What does that
accident.
mean? I have
Snowmobile,
another
right,
one
sorry,
that
my bad. I knew it was
that's
in snow.
6-1
gearing.
stock is 12-1.
He's a gearing 6
Yeah,
to
I mean,
1.
just
Stock
keep
is 12 to 1.
get your amperage up and just go like 4 to 1 and
Bro, bigger motors, bro. Drop that G's.
go. So go do a deep dive on Rich Rebuild's YouTube channel and then go buy a wrecked Tesla and drive that
Yes.
bitch in there. I mean,
We'll wire it up, bro.
yeah, go
So,
buy a Prius battery
We've
pack.
had this debate before, me and Arthur and a couple of my dad and my couple other friends. What's more like not only sketchy, because I think the sketchy part is easy to answer, but like not hard. Like I guess harder, right? I guess to put it that way.
Okay.
F1 and rally.
F1, 100% harder.
I'll go with rally.
And he loves
I
F1.
like
He's an F1 nerd.
Rally, bro. These
I don't
people
know.
are
I'm
fucking
back and
psycho,
forth.
bro.
I think it's the two things that
F1 though,
that put it on me is
It's
the
hard,
the
bro.
anxiety that comes with rally, and then the speed of F1, that how fast your reflexes have to
Yeah.
be, because you're moving at probably double the speed of those guys in rally, but the
Bro,
like
they're making so much
unprepped
correction.
surface with rally,
Yeah,
you're in
bro.
the middle of the fucking woods at some
Yeah.
crazy altitude. You don't know how the
Yes.
car is gonna start acting as you start
Yes.
moving up. Like
It's hard. It's
I
very
think I
hard.
think I think you
it's
compare.
so hard. They have to have someone there telling you where to
Comparing
go.
apples to oranges, because
Yeah.
you can also say
You
like,
compare apples to oranges.
Yeah.
It's
because I
hard.
mean at the same time, like you have you put an F1 driver in a NASCAR. I mean, talk all the smack you want to about NASCAR, but those things are like impossible to drive. Like you put like let's say you put
Left.
Their right arm
Left.
is super strong.
oh wait left.
Left.
Kimi Räikkönen, he's gonna race in NASCAR
Yeah.
from F1.
But the-
during,
But the joke
Texas.
is, it's like, oh, you can't cut it in F1 anymore. Go to NASCAR.
Or
but, like-
rally.
I mean,
I don't know.
a lot of
That's
the
so close.
guys like F1, they go to rally and they just fucking go in and just haul ass.
Yeah.
It just tells you how much easier it is.
No,
No.
I mean,
I
rally.
think it's harder to get in F1 because of the licensing things. Like you
I don't-
gotta go
I don't
through
think
so
it's
many
that.
things.
I don't think it's
I think F1 is 1,000% like a higher tier.
And
It's
it's
got
a-
so
it's a
much
class
more
thing.
money invested.
Yes,
Yeah, it's a
yes,
class,
Class
thing. High
thing.
class, 100%. It's like
Yeah.
it's the sport that has the most
Like
money
one
invested
square inch
in
of
it.
it's some ridiculous. 1 square inch of advertising on a car is like $1 million.
Yeah.
It's some
Yeah.
ridiculous amounts
Yeah,
of
it's
money.
like Super Bowl money. So, like, here's an interesting question though. What do you think is the craziest like annual motorsports race that they have? I'm gonna lead off and say Isle of Man TT. Those guys are out of their mind.
You
A
know
lot
who's
of
out
them
of their
die.
fucking
Those are the
mind?
like
Yeah.
motorcycle, right? On the motorcycle.
Yeah, that's where they
yeah,
have.
yeah. That's nasty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know
those
who's out
guys
of
are
their fucking
crazy.
mind? Is those guys with the gimbal.
Gimbal.
It's a
Oh,
coast to coast
oh,
race.
Oh,
Gumball.
you talk. So the gumball.
Gumball
So what you're talking
3000
about is
or
the cannonball.
Cannonball,
Cannonball,
yeah. I
yeah.
think that's stupid, and the reason I say that's stupid
Well-
because half of those guys don't even know what the fuck they're doing.
So-
none of them are race car drivers. They just have money and they have supercars,
in
and
the
that's it.
streets.
A lot of them, although, are involved in motorsport, but there hasn't been of anyone trying to set that record that's legitimately done it. There's been 0 fatalities.
Yeah, but Island TT, the people
Yes,
die left and
I
right.
That's
get it.
basically rally on a motorcycle.
Dude, those guys are
Element,
like
yeah.
watching.
Insane.
Like I love riding motorcycles. Like of course, sold mine. Wish I hadn't. But driving in Pinellas County is basically as dangerous as probably the Isle of Man. So, knock on wood for that.
I mean, yeah, any motorcycle race is going to be dangerous, right? Like, even you take those Sahara motorcycle races, they're just as dangerous as any other one. But I think, like, when you don't know what the fuck you're doing and you're getting in it's like somebody just sent me I'm not going to name names, but they sent me this video. So it was a AR, right? AR-16 or AR-15 or whatever the fuck it was, I don't remember. And he had a modified trigger on it, right? This modified trigger itself cost as much as the AR itself, right? So the thing on that was, like, literally, it was like a 2 millimeter movement for the trigger to reset. It's like, what did I say? I replied back with something fucking smart ass to the video, but it's like, like, if I would have dropped something like that in an AR, I don't know my head from my ass when it comes to an AR. How can I possibly drop something like that just because I have the money, right? Like, it just makes no sense. Same thing with super fast cars. Like, you're getting into a machine that can kill you. Okay, fine. You have the adrenaline, kill someone else. You know what I mean?
Emily, the other day, she's like, for some reason, I don't know why the fuck she said this. It's like, I want a Mustang now.
What?
I was like, all right.
Crowd control.
I was like, yeah.
Go drive Jorge's.
I was like,
crash it.
I was like a V6 or an EcoBoost. He's like, no. I want the V8. And I was like, that's a death machine for you.
Coyote.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Jorge's is a coyote.
no,
Yeah,
his
those
is Shelby.
But back to the question.
he's
So
got a
what do you think?
Coyote
What do you
No,
think the
Coyote Modi is a 5.0. Horses got a 5.2 because it's GT350.
Okay.
yeah, the GT350 is a bad car.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
cousin
Bad
of mine
car.
has it.
So what do you think is the craziest race then? So I said Isle of Man.
Isle
Anyone
of
else?
Man, I would say.
I would 100%
Crazy as
agree
in-
with you.
Okay,
that.
in danger level.
Yeah,
or
sketchiness?
Sketchiness.
I'd say all of it because
Isle of Man is
the
okay.
Isle of Man you're racing through like city streets, like it's not like a controlled racetrack.
Yeah.
Like you're just being like, all right. Send
What
it.
about those fucking ramp jumping? The ramp jumping with the motorcycles,
Oh,
like
those
Travis Pastrana shit?
Well, yeah. So motocross. Yeah, I mean, I guess I
Yeah.
didn't really think about that. The injury rate for that stuff's probably way higher than other motorsports.
You know what's the craziest race?
Well, I
Try
just
to
don't
race
think
a
they're going
fucking
as fast,
bull
right?
in the pen. You know when they're
Matador shit.
yeah, that's pretty bad. You know what I mean? Like all those bull riders and things like that, bro. Those guys have
Get
injuries out
gored?
the ass.
Oh, getting gored by a bull? Oh,
Yeah, like that's pretty fucking legit race
What about
right
those
there.
guys that ride the bull? Those fuckers get fucked up.
those guys are wild.
Dude,
Bro,
they
I
get
saw this.
fucked
I
up.
saw this clip. I wish we would have had it.
No amount of
So there's. I
cocaine,
don't know
man.
what country it was, but the guy
I
was
don't
like
know how the fuck
clearly
you're
from
doing
South
it.
South America, right? So this guy's like they're showing him. He comes up pretty much like smoking a cigarette, like he's standing there smoking his cigarette, and then walks up to the bull, gets on
Oh,
the fucking
yeah,
bull.
yeah.
Why still has
Yeah,
the cigarette
yeah,
in
I've
his
seen that
mouth?
one.
Doesn't grab
Knoxville?
onto the bull. I think his legs were strapped, and he had to be, you know. And he just fucking rides the bull until the bull like just comes down,
Yeah,
and he
he
just
just
like
calms
jumps off of it like nothing happened. I was like,
8-second
"God
ride."
Damn.
What's surprising me about professional bull riding is that, for the longest time it was always, Western cowboy, like American guy. And the Brazilians have taken over that sport.
Yes, they have.
Like the guy that, and I don't follow it
It's
enough
that
to know-
jujitsu grip, bro. Once you get that jujitsu
grip
grip,
strength.
that's it.
But the guy that's won like the last like he won like 7 PBR titles, and he was a Brazilian. Like there's a lot of like really really good, and I think it's maybe not just Brazil, but let's just say South American bull riders out there. There's a lot of cattle, down in South America, Argentina, Brazil. There's a lot of cattle rearing down there. So.
Talking about like bull riding and horses and stuff like that, do you remember one year the Kentucky Derby? This horse won the Kentucky Derby, and it was a horse from Florida that won the Kentucky
Up
Derby.
in Ocala, yeah.
And from Ocala. And they sold that horse for $100,000 right prior to Kentucky Derby. And this horse goes into Kentucky Derby the next year or year after and wins the fucking Kentucky Derby. So literally, like, the price of the horse just went through the fucking
course.
roof.
Because they want to breed that horse now.
Yeah, that's
And this is a thing of Kiyosaki's. You know what this motherfucker does? He's investing into bulls now. Part of his investments are bulls, like investing into bull semen.
mhm. Oh yeah, I've seen that done before, like professionally. It's a weird one.
Yeah, like the shit that you can make money off of is fucking ridiculous to me. Talking about that, what do you think about art as a form of investment?
I think it's basically people committing tax fraud.
Yeah, because there's like a whole cartel of like even like there was a whole thing how what's the guy's name from that game with the fucking lightning on his the movies, the
Harry Potter?
Harry Potter, the actor,
The ripoff of Star Wars?
yeah, so he wanted to buy
It is.
he wanted to buy a $30 million painting, and they pretty much told him you can't, even though it was going for the auction and this and that. So like this is all like the whole art scene is all rigged. It's kind of like one of those things like, okay, I owe you $30 million and you have that painting, and I know I owe you that much, and we know that painting is not going to go over $30 million, but I keep betting until it goes to $30 million.
So
I'll buy the painting go for you, I pay you the $30 million.
So an interesting thing that, people have done and they're trying to crack down on it with art is that they'll go buy a piece of art. Let's say you had a ton of capital gains come in that they were trying to crack down on it. Someone would go buy a very valuable piece of art. Let's say it's $30 million. And then you would have someone write an article saying this person way overpaid for it. The prevailing opinion is that it's worth, let's say, $15 million. And they, get it out there. And then they'd have someone appraise it that was, getting all this like kind of pressure to say, oh, it's worth 15 because the market's what the market is for art. And they claim a $15 million loss.
Yeah.
When it's really worth more than that. So
yeah, it's the same thing with like the any kind of a sports team, right? Like majority of owners of sports teams, though, that's all their tax write-off.
It sounds like a smart way to bullshit.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Anything to avoid paying taxes, bro. Like,
Right.
because if you think about it, when you're in that high bracket of paying taxes, like 40% of that bracket goes to taxes. So, and that bracket right now starts at what, $700,000? I don't know what the exact number is, but like there are people that are making more than 700,000. There's a lot of people that are making that kind of money. So anything above $700,000, you're paying 40% on.
but
that's a
only
lot
ordinary,
of money.
That's ordinary income. Most of those people, if they're pulling in 700 in a year, it's going to be off capital gains. So
Yeah.
they're trying to,
Which is still 20%. Let's
Yeah.
say 20% on $10 million. That's $2 million.
Yeah.
So now instead of you having 10 million, you have only 8.
But the thing with all when people talk about these like crazy tax strategies, it typically only applies to long-term capital gains. So, talking about that example with the art, or the weird one right now is that cryptocurrency, to pivot too much, but there's no regulations against what's called a wash sale in cryptocurrency. So you can buy something and then sell it and immediately rebuy it, which you're not allowed to do with securities, and basically manufacture losses with cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
So, which
Yeah.
is wild.
Well, I mean,
That's why they don't want.
if there is a
crypto to
loophole,
be,
if there's a
They're going to
loophole
get rid of the wash sale rule in the next legislative session, I guarantee.
on
it.
cryptocurrency,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I mean they're gonna have to, because majority of the scams, like there's so many crypto millionaires that went belly up because of this whole
Well,
pump and
the
dump.
problem is that they had all these realized gains, and then the cryptocurrency tanks, and they have tax bills that they can't afford to pay because their cryptocurrency is not worth enough to sell and pay it.
So, off the topic a little bit, but you just said scam, and I just thought of something. I always break my brain, especially I worked at Best Buy, seeing this a lot. But like to protect my, older, like my parents and my grandparents, they all use smartphones and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
To protect them against scams, it's so like you start thinking of it, it's like you can't do anything. Goddamn, my nose.
So yeah, so you can't do that. It's a huge market.
How can I protect my grandma of like listening to some dumbass scam her and getting gift cards or something? You know what I mean? Like the other day, my for example, just like helping it become more efficient for them. My mom the other day signed up for a subscription with the whole pay thing because she couldn't figure out how to just pay for like 1 or 2 hours.
Yeah, it's tough, but I'm
In
lucky
those
that
cases, you instruct them, hey, call me.
Yes.
Call me. If you have a question, if somebody's saying something, I've instructed my mom, listen, if you don't know the phone number, I don't care if it's your best friend, you hang up and you block that fucking number. This is what you do.
Yeah.
You don't even answer, you don't pick it up, you don't respond back to
bro,
any
they
of
try
this
to-
shit.
I just
mean,
tell
what's
them,
his name?
remember what you told me when I was growing up. If it sounds too good to be true, it is, and be very skeptical of
Yeah.
everyone.
Stranger danger, stranger
Well, what's
danger.
Stranger
his name?
danger.
You know Mark Rober, the YouTuber.
Oh, those videos are
He
hilarious.
tried to- he tried to like catch.
Yes.
He shut down a bunch of scams.
Yeah,
over
he
these
actually
and
would like
shit.
hack into their stuff, get their
In
like,
India,
web
he
cameras,
can, but like
yeah.
Bangladesh and places like that,
Yeah.
it just makes their life hell.
I
but
listened
he can't.
to Joe Rogan's thing with CoffeeZilla, some guy who's
Oh,
apparently-
CoffeeZilla is doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
Like
So-
the stuff that he
No,
exposes is so good.
Let's switch our gears a little bit. What y'all guys think about the new Chris Rock's special?
Ah, you saw
that
that
was
shit?
hilarious.
The Chris
I saw
Rock special?
yesterday.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet.
It's
It's on-
hilarious.
it's on
the one he
Netflix.
I've watched like
went
the
on
first
on
half.
Will
I haven't watched
Smith
the whole.
and
thing.
Bro, he
wife?
went hard on
Yeah.
Will Smith.
Bro.
And today he just showed me a clip of Jada trying to clap back at him.
Yeah, so
what do y'all think about
she
that?
basically tried to like call
him.
him victim. Even though
No, he
in the
was
special he's
basically-
like I am nothing, I'm anything but a victim.
He's like, yeah, he goes basically from what I understand from the clip, he's like, bro, all these people talking shit, and I said something, and I'm the one that here asking you if you needed help at the moment that you were having issues, and you come and fucking slap me, basically. You did all these things, or she did all these things to you,
Bro.
and everybody's talking shit, and they said
I
you're
love
a
what-
pussy. This,
I love
and
when
then
he
you
was-
come after me.
I love when he talks.
Like,
He's like,
it was
he's like, when
crazy.
have you ever seen someone get interviewed by their cheater? Like, oh, so I suck my. It's just funny. This guy said it. Like, he's like, so I suck my my son's friend's dick. How do you feel? How do you feel?
Bro, this lady single-handedly destroyed the career of Will Smith single-handedly, and single-handedly raised the career of Chris Rock. Because if you think about it, Chris Rock was one of the top comedians in the world prior to Kevin Hart and all of those guys. It was Chris Rock. Now Chris Rock is back on the stage. So Jada has done two fucking things.
I love
The
the
guy
line.
she married destroys, and the guy she has
Chris-
nothing to do with raises the.
They are coming out with I Am Legend 2, which is
Chris,
really dope.
Chris Rock tweeted actually the other day. He tweeted, "I watched Emancipation just to watch Will Smith get whipped."
God damn. But this is what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, Jada Pinkett Smith, that is pretty much a has-been. She's never been, right?
She dated Tupac.
Yeah, so, I mean, she dated Tupac, but then kept writing fucking letters to a dead person, had her kids write letters to a dead person. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking about make his own choice and still be getting movies. Nah, Will didn't make his own choice.
I do know that when the whole slap thing happened, he got a movie postponed with Netflix.
Correct. Because Will looked, when that whole thing happened, everybody was laughing, having fun, and then Will looks at Jada, and Jada has this look on her, and he's like, uh-oh, mama is mad. Let me do something about it. Let me walk up there and slap him, because to this day, Will Smith, he's still simping over Jada. It's just, to me, that's unacceptable.
On the card,
What's going on?
his monitor just turned off.
Oh, I took a shit.
I mean, the stream is still going itself. We're all good.
Yeah.
So what would you
Grab
say
this
is the on that vein? What do you think is what comedy special has made you laugh the hardest?
Delirious. Eddie Murphy Delirious.
Eddie
or
Murphy.
Raw.
Eddie Murphy Raw is up there. Eddie Murphy Raw is epic.
Mine, and anything with Bill Burr. For me, is Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
Bill
I
Burr
can
is
respect
it.
that. I would have to go with the Chappelle. I grew up on Chappelle's show came out when I was a freshman in high school. It was like the first like memeable, quotable thing like of that era because I was in high school from like I graduated in 07, so 03 to 07, and yeah, Dave Chappelle.
Take out the DVI.
Dave Chappelle,
We
I
don't
think
need this one.
is a generational comedian. Just like Eddie Murphy was the '80s. In the '90s, you had a few different people.
Did you ever watch like Fluffy's Gabriel Iglesias' special on Netflix?
I really like his comedy, but the voice like acting stuff that he does like it loses me.
Oh, really? I
like,
love it.
Like he's like, oh, hello, like that stuff. Like I'm not a fan of, but his comedy is really good.
When I remember in one of his specials, it starts off with him as a kid, like sneaking this tape of Eddie Murphy. I don't remember if it was Raw or Delirious. Like that resonated with me so much because I loved watching Eddie Murphy as a kid. Like
Eddie
to
Murphy
me, that was the introduction for me to like loving stand-up comedy. Going and watching Pryor, going back and watching these old guys.
I do love comedy. Live comedy is fantastic.
I'm a big stand-up person, but I have yet to go and watch live.
Oh man!
So what was the guy, the older dude that pretty much got canceled for his views?
You're thinking of the guy from F is for Family, or no, his views, or the guy that was.
His comedy pretty much he got canceled. He was super controversial. Like the comedy that I like to watch is about the controversial shit that's true, but nobody likes to talk about because everybody's woke.
So you love
woke.
Dave Chappelle?
Yeah. Dave Chappelle is definitely out there. Bill Burr is up there, and then there was another dude, like he's an old dude, white hair,
Oh, I
beard.
think you're thinking about
skinny guy.
Oh man, old skinny guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
no.
doesn't matter. I'll think of it. But yeah. So anything that's controversial and you say the shit that majority of people think about, but they're too afraid to say it because it's gonna go against the grain, and the 5% gonna chew you up because they're the loudest. That's what I like
Well,
to
I think
watch.
that's what people need to realize about comedy is that it's there to kind of be a check on society to make sure that people don't take themselves too seriously. And yeah, I mean you can joke about stuff, that will cross lines and stuff like that. But I think it's healthy to have a respect for comedians to be able to get up there and be able to make jokes and make sure everyone doesn't take themselves too seriously all the time. But you play with that line. You jump over it too much, you get burned, and
Yeah, but
sucks,
see,
but-
that's
George Carlin.
George Carlin. There we go. That's him.
George Carlin did get canceled. He died.
Well, that died. I'm sorry. Well, but he did get canceled before that, didn't he?
No. I mean,
No?
he was always pretty edgy, but he was more of like the topical, like, oh, well, he kind of because he liked to call out like the church and like he was
Yes.
big on like calling out like societal hypocrisies. But I
Yes.
mean, he died back in like '04, so like before
you're
like the
lucky.
culture, before like call it what you want, or,
Wokeism.
the culture. The culture issues, culture war that happened is kind of well before that. But George Carlin was great. I read his books, man. He was old enough to write comedian books.
Yeah. No, yeah, we have a monitor. What's the problem, guys? Just use this monitor. Okay, it doesn't matter. We're still running the. Sorry, guys. We're having GhettoRig technical difficulties in the house. It wouldn't be GhettoRig unless we had technical difficulties. But this is why you see Eddie's big head in the camera trying to fix stuff. I don't know why he's doing it,
While
but
they
it is what it
trying
is.
to say
I wish it
something.
was like I could hold my hand on it.
When we were talking about earlier about movies, Behind Enemy at the Gates. Behind Enemy at the Gates.
Enemy at the Gates, the Russian war movie about the
Yes,
sniper.
that's like
that was
top 3 for me.
a great movie.
Yeah.
I mean, war movies have
That's
their
a
own
true
kind of-
story, though, right?
That's
Like
a-
that's
I
not
mean,
a true
adapted
story.
true story. There really was a Russian sniper in World War II that was,
Mm-hmm.
it was like the Battle of Stalingrad and Leningrad is where he had all of his confirmed kills. But that's a good one. So like favorite war movie. That's always a good one. I mean, Saving Private Ryan's always an easy one to go to.
You know which one with the Brad Pitt and they had this the
Glorious Bastards.
Glorious Bastard, Glorious Bastard.
I mean, that wasn't a real like.
it's not, but
but
it's a
it's-
great ass fucking movie.
Oh man, that movie is so good.
Yeah,
But I
because
was
they're technically the bad guys. You know what I mean? If you think about it, I
Yeah.
mean, they're the good guys, but they're the bad guys. You know?
Oh
what I'm
yeah, I
saying?
mean it's a heroic villain in that movie.
What
But
happened?
as far as like real war movies, I mean, yeah, it's hard to beat Saving Private Ryan. But you have things like Bridge Over the River Kwai, Tropic Thunder.
yeah.
Tropic Thunder is a great movie. Oh man, that
Yeah,
movie
so the
is.
war movies, war movies are always good.
Yeah.
But my favorite movies are those where you kind of like, you see a character development, where it's like
you
they're
guys
shit
mentioned Lone
and they become
Survivor.
some.
That was a newer one that came out not that long
Yeah, that
ago.
was really good.
I
Yeah.
really like that one.
Which one?
Lone Survivor.
I haven't watched a
Mark
lot of
Mark
the war
Wahlberg.
movies.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
haven't
we should
watched them.
visit Alex's question a while back that he asked about remaking of
video
Oh,
game.
Yeah.
Video game
so
remakes.
I had a initial thought on that was like any video game I can think of is like, oh, I love. Okay, I have one, but I don't want to ruin it. You know what I mean? Like I hate when they remake things and they ruin it.
So
I would do Jack. I'm a big Jack and Dexter fan from
great
Place-
games.
So Jack 2 remake
What's
that
a
shit.
what game is that?
So
it was an old Xbox game.
it's PlayStation actually.
That
It
was
doesn't
PlayStation.
matter
I
what
played
kind
it
of
on
game it
PlayStation.
was.
I played it on PlayStation. I don't know, maybe if it was on
never
both, but I know I played it on PlayStation.
What game
Uh,
was it?
Jack and Daxter was this basically not really free. The second one was kind of free roam. The first one was kind of like inline thing.
I don't know
It
what.
was this really cool adventure game. Kind of think of like a sci-fi out Uncharted-ish. Not really. I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't know how to
know.
put it. I don't know how to compare it.
I got my wish, so I'll be quick. Final Fantasy VII's already getting its remake, so I'm content. They're doing.
I never
mine.
played the Final Fantasy games.
I never could get into the Final Fantasies or even the movies, man. Even the movies or the cartoons or whatever, like the.
They had a few different ones, like
Yeah.
Advent Children and a few different ones, but yeah, they're making mine.
Armageddon.
So.
Although you know what I'm kind of happy about,
Armageddon?
Armageddon.
The one you would like get in a car and you just hit
Plow through people.
and
Yeah.
hit-
It's like one like that. They're remaking Twisted Metal, which is kind of like
Oh,
that.
That's
yeah,
gonna be
same,
cool.
Yes.
So talking about like games that became movies or movies that became games, there was a. Oh, I fucking lost the train of thought. Never
Well, that's
mind,
a
I'll
good one.
remember.
Like movies that became like games and movies, like when
They
they
ruined my
Halo.
Uncharted.
Halo. For
They
me, the
ruined it.
Halo.
They ruined my Uncharted.
Halo, the series was dog shit.
I don't know, man.
So
I
bad.
liked it. I liked it.
I couldn't. Oh man, I hated it so much. Master Chief, ugh, leave the helmet on.
Why?
Because that's the game. Like that was the
This
whole
is
thing.
the
You
way.
have the like the stoic hero. That's just they made that small like snippet movie of it. That was like it was, I don't know if it was a short or not, but it was not the series, but the movie Halo they came out with, where it's like the kids in the bunker that was getting
Yes.
attacked by the
Yeah, that was a
Covenant?
movie. That was a full movie.
Oh, that one. You're talking about that one or the series?
No, the series too. Like I like them all. I like
Oh.
all of the Halo games. I never really could get into. It wasn't my thing.
Halo 3.
No,
I
no,
didn't play-
gameplay-
I wasn't an Xbox person, but I know the fucking game. I respect it. I
No,
played
the
it.
gameplay itself, I like the gameplay, but that whole multiplayer aspect of it, it wasn't for me.
Oh.
But the gameplay itself is pretty cool, and to me, that's why I'm saying like I like the show because it kind of follows the gameplay rather than the multiplayer aspect.
Halo 3 in Copenhagen got me through college.
There's this thing they added to COD finally, and other games had it, but it's like I feel like it's gonna become more prominent now because of how much proximity chat is taken off in games right now in
Yeah.
multiplayer. Like it's
I wish it had come out earlier. I always thought that would have been a good one. Just like you
Yeah.
get closer, and you can hear them.
yeah.
But I fell off with after like Modern Warfare 2. Like I don't know, maybe my thumb dexterity got. I just have too much going on in my brain, but I cannot play those games anymore. Like
Yeah.
it's just overwhelming. I'm like story mode kind
You
of.
ended you ended it on the best note at least. Modern Warfare 2 is like
Man,
the best of all time.
How many
so.
how many just terrible things were said on that chat after you
Hey.
played the hangar or oh man, yeah,
if
definitely the airport.
if you play Call of Duty and you don't talk shit, you didn't play.
Wasn't that a topic on the podcast a while back, like the shit talking on video games, or maybe it was a different podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we-
it
we
was
did
it was
talk-
last
yeah.
one.
Yeah, you have to like
I have a question.
have thick skin.
I
Yeah,
have a
definitely.
question.
Yeah.
I have a question for specifically online gamers that play like Call of Duty, Counter Strike. Okay. So when you play online, right, you get all your kills, right?
I was gonna
Then you
say
play
nobody
again.
plays Counter Strike anymore, but keep going.
Okay, all these
Everyone,
online
the
games,
CS:GO.
Rainbow
Doubt it.
Siege, whatever, Rainbow Las Vegas, whatever.
Yeah, Valorant
And
took
you're
over
playing
Counter-Strike.
online, right? And you killing people. Then you start another one. You're killing people. Start another one. What do you get out of it? At the end of the day,
Nothing.
What is the purpose? As in how
Bragging
many kills
rights.
you're gonna get?
Bragging
Satisfaction in their
rights.
frustration.
Bragging. Like I just want to know because
Bragging
like,
rights. That's all there
after
is to it.
I mean, I played online racing games, right?
Mhm.
And okay, it's just competition. You're winning. It's a different race, but this is same. Let's say same map, and you're playing that map over and over and over. And the 10 minutes thing is over, and you start again, and you're there for 10 hours.
A big thing with
What do you get
gaming.
out of it?
A big
I wanna
okay.
know.
A big thing with gaming that a lot of people don't realize that aren't like, I guess you can say not hardcore gamers, but like really like to play games on the regular, is we like seeing good players and we enjoy, like for example, that's why streaming is taking off because people love enjoying watching
yeah.
the pros, right? Because like, oh, I want to do that,
Yeah,
right? There's a big satisfaction of getting good at a game, especially if it's a hard game. And
But it's a
Absolutely.
competition.
It is all about
and 100%
competition,
is
bro.
a competition thing.
Yeah.
Even when it comes down to like what you gain from it, oh, you get points, and then maybe with those points you buy a skin. Those skins are still part of a competition of like I look cooler than you.
Yeah. So I just had something pop into my head on this same vein of video games. We're talking about video game movies. One I think would make a great movie is Half-Life.
Never played.
You never played? Oh man,
Half-Life is
you're a
good.
PC gamer.
Yes.
So they have all of them on Steam. You can normally get like the pack where it's
Few
like
bucks.
yeah, like $20, but like you can get like Half-Life 2. But
It's
basically, the premise is Black Mesa is this research facility out in the desert.
Similar to the Doom. It's similar
Kind
to
of,
Doom.
yeah. So it's this research facility out in the middle of the desert, and you're this doctor, right? And like a research scientist. And it starts with you on this train, and you're going in. They're doing these experiments,
is fucking
and you go in like you put on this like exoskeleton suit, and you're like doing this experiment. They accidentally open a portal to an alien world, and the aliens that come through are mega hostile. And you basically are like, it like blows up the facility, and you got to fight your way out of it. but like there's also this government agency that kind of knew about it, and they're like keeping this thing going on, and like it ruins the world, and you're like trying to fight back on it. Great story. It was one of like the original like PC games that was like a great story first person shooter. But like it spawned a lot of other big games. It spawned Counter-Strike. Spawned Counter-Strike, came out of that realm. It also spawned a few other big multiplayer ones that are still around today, but it's
Counter-Strike.
You ever played Escape from Tarkov or heard of it?
Oh, I've definitely played Tarkov. It's one of those ones that goes over my head. I'm just like, eh. Like I get in there and I'm like, I get my gun and everything, and then someone kills me, and I'm like, I
lost everything.
Yeah, that game is really like a kick in the nuts.
Yeah, Tarkov's big. Do you ever watch the PKA podcast? Painkiller Already? That's a really good one. Do you ever remember the YouTuber FPS Russia?
Sounds
he was
familiar.
He was the gun guy.
What happened to him?
So he's a crazy story. So he got
well, he wasn't Russian, right? Like he was taking the accent.
He was from Georgia, like southern.
Yeah, he was
like
taking the fucking accent.
Southern boy from Georgia.
Had
so
like that whole
his dad
thing
owned
going on, like Dr. Disrespect kind of.
Yeah, his dad owned a pig farm in southern Georgia. Like he's a southern boy.
Drove through McDonald's with a tank. Ordering. Like what the?
So he his story was crazy. So like obviously like he was kind of like, have you ever heard of like Demolition Ranch? He's like a newer one, but like he's like a little bit more family friendly with guns. But this guy was like, the drunk uncle with a bunch of Mountain Dew shooting off like 55-gallon drums full of acetylene to see how high they go.
Yeah.
But he had, Georgia, not known for their friendly weed laws, had bought, I think he gotten like just a little bit of weed, like a few carts and like maybe like half an ounce or an ounce of bud shipped to his house.
Well, the thing with
and the ATF came in and tried to get him for distribution, XYZ, sent him to prison for a month, confiscated like almost $1 million worth of guns.
Yeah.
And, but now he just does podcasting and plays a lot of Tarkov. And
so is Days like Tarkov? Is it Days?
No, so Daisy. So you're talking about Daisy?
Daisy.
Days, no, Tarkov. Daisy. Tarkov is like a raid style versus like a battle royale.
Yeah.
But it's the same shit as you get shot, you lose fucking everything, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in Tarkov, the gear is very, very hard to come across. The skill gap is nasty big. You have guys, for example, when I first started playing, it took me probably 150 hours in the game to get to level 15. Yeah. And that's when the game basically starts, is when you get to level 15, because that's when the flea market opens and you can actually start buying guns. Until level 15, you run around with a bolt-action sniper rifle with no sight and like level 2 armor that the bots will kill you really easily. Like,
so there's bots involved?
Yeah, and the bots are disgusting.
So the game that was made into a movie that I liked a lot, and I wish they came out with more. I forget the name, but it had to do with orcs and humans and how they're like teleporting to the human world. And then World of Warcraft, that's the one. That's the one I like.
The biggest video game of all time.
Oh,
yep.
It is big.
All I gotta say is wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But done.
Or
drop the mic. Drop the mic and walk away.
Or LOL.
I never.
LOL? Was it
Lore?
LOL?
Yeah, League of Legends.
League of
LOL.
Legends?
Yeah, League of Legends.
I never played World of Warcraft. I know it's
still
I can.
big, though,
Yeah,
bro.
people.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
What's his name plays? Nelson plays.
I was
Nelson
big
and
into,
Nando are really big in the World of Warcraft.
Yo, these guys.
As far as like the top down ones, I was really big into
Don't say Dota.
Star-
Don't say Dota.
StarCraft
Don't say Dota.
was a
Don't
big
say
one for
Dota.
me. What?
Don't say Dota.
Oh, he thought you were saying
No, not Dota. No, StarCraft, like Red Alert, like were like kind of like my top down games that I really, really enjoyed.
Diablo 4 is coming out.
I
if you
can't
pre-order,
I'm about
you
to
can play
take
it
I'm about to take
tomorrow, I
time off
think.
work for Diablo 4.
Yeah, I can't wait for Diablo for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be about that life. Has anyone played Hogwarts Legacy?
So I'll buy the game once they bring out that
talking about-
multiplayer.
Dude,
I'll play the
but it
game when
looks
they bring down
nasty.
the price.
it is
How much is
so
$70.
dope.
$60-$70 like every other
$70
game.
bucks.
Oh man, it is. Oh
See,
god.
I saw that D&D movie. I just never got into the game itself. I don't even know what the fuck it's all
I just
about.
recently learned what like the whole Dungeons and Dragons
Yeah.
premises. It's really like a story thing where one of the person in the group kind of designs this story where everybody goes making characters and goes through the story. It's really cool because it's like, for example, you can kind of like pull things out of your ass, and if the leader of the story says it goes.
Yeah, so the way it basically works is that you have what's called your dungeon master, and they kind of set, like, think about it like a theme party, right? So they set up this thing where it's like, okay, they set up everything. It's like, okay, now you have a quest. Like, the quest is to, like, traverse the Bossy Marsh and climb the Demon Mountain to battle this person. And kind of it has this rule set of, like, you have all these dice. And, like, if there's different moves and you have these different books and you kind of build your own character, most people have a few. And then they'll kind of give it, and then you'll say, okay, I'm using this character for this particular night out. And then you all kind of, you'll say, okay, my move is to use this move. And then the Dungeon Master will say, okay, well, that's like X amount of damage. So you got to roll a 30-sided dice and score higher than something. So there's a lot to it, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it's a lot of fun to play with your friends. And like,
is it Stranger Things based on that?
Well, so Stranger Things, the kids were all D&D nerds.
Yeah,
so like that was kind of the premise. But yeah,
I feel like D&D is like Super Mario Party on crack.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like, it's super nerdy, but it's the learning curve is steep. But once you get into it and everyone kind of understands what's going on, like, it's a lot of fun to play with your friends.
You gotta play a racing game with a racing rig. Feel that burn in your forearms, and then we can talk.
Oh yeah, my racing sims are a lot of fun. I wish the ability to like kind of get into it was a little
cheaper,
bit
right?
Cheaper, yeah.
I was pretty lucky. I got a wheel set up. So listen to this. So I had a wheel already. Spent about $500 with the pedals and stuff. And then I saw somebody sell a seat. It wasn't the best seat. It was a decent play seat, whatever, with the wheel on it.
Yeah.
So it was like $300. I went to Sarasota, picked it up, sold the wheel and pedals that were on it for $280.
Yeah.
Cost me $20 for the seat.
Nice. Yeah.
So,
but the wheel that you have,
now
should have like a
the wheel.
Force
I
feedback.
have $1,000 wheel on there. So
yeah, it's I've gone down some rabbit holes of like going on YouTube and looking at the crazy racing sims people have.
Don't even 10-15 grand.
Oh, well, it's one of those kind of things where like you can spend as much money as you want on that kind of stuff.
Now they have this vest you can wear, vest or a seat cushion, like a seat, and it like tactile vibrates.
There's
when
this
you go over rumble strips.
Starts with a G.
Shit, like,
I've seen pro gamers like get it since how they have vests, they have sleeves, they have like these shorts that you can put on that are like basically what is that? Not vibration, but
haptic feedback.
Haptic feedback. It built in for like playing racing sims or also playing shooting games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what games I could get behind? They've been advertising this shit for a while, but they won't come out and make it. Is the ones that, like, I've seen simulators of these, but they're not mainstream yet, where they kind of strap you in and you're doing the Call of Duty, or you do like some sort of like 300 or something like that.
The 360 ones, yeah.
Yeah, so the 360 where you like kind of like walk and you can go up and down, or they were talking about creating a game where I think it had to do something with Roman times, like it was a 300 where you can actually like you're fighting people will like actually have to fight them and like chop them down with swords and shit.
You know what
that
game,
would be cool.
Recent game I think could make a good movie. I haven't played it, but I've seen a shit ton of gameplay on it. The new Resident Evil Village.
Well, Resident Evil movies.
Yeah, I know they already
pretty
made.
good.
I know they already made the movies and stuff, but I'm saying like that specific game, I think could make a really
I think
good
Resident
movie.
Resident Evil Code Veronica would make a great game. That was one I really enjoyed for Dreamcast.
I can say it straight up. I'm a pussy when it comes to like.
Yeah, fuck, I don't
games
like
that.
those games.
So like, I only recently when I got into PC gaming, I started playing a little more like. I guess you can call it horror. Like
really a horror genre.
I got into the forest with the cannibals. I got into playing Phasmophobia a bunch. Little things like that. But
sleep in peace, bro.
Or a game remake they need to remake is the original Silent Hill.
He's like, I have insomnia.
No,
I heard that's
fuck
a
that.
really scary game.
Fuck that. That game fucking sucks. That game is terrible. You cannot go to sleep with that game.
He's like,
so bad.
He's like, I have insomnia. No shit. After playing that.
Like, I just remember like Mom and Dad, you're never gonna see this, but what the hell were you thinking buying me that game when I was a kid? Like, I was terrified. Like, mortal terror.
Not similar, but gaming. I remember being a kid when Star Wars: The Force Unleashed came out, where you got to
Great
play
game.
as I feel like an asshole because I can't Star Killer. As Galen Malik, we get to play that. That is a character that needs to come to that. We need to see him. I think we need to. Did you see it in Obi-Wan when they teased his armor?
Oh yeah,
That was cool.
Yeah,
that was all over the internet.
that's gonna be dope. The Silent Hill games, man. Like, and I agree. I do enjoy the horror
that.
genre now, but
I enjoy playing it.
I'm
but
so
scary,
bad
man.
when it comes to playing video games.
Fuck
Like,
that.
I'll play till 2, 3.
I
in the morning.
enjoy other people playing it and me watching their reaction.
No, fuck that. No. I
Some
refuse
shit
to even
jumps
watch
out of
that
the
reaction.
corner.
I love playing Phasmo because you get to
Fucking
like
break a screen.
basically
1
like,
million subscriber
set up-
special. Jay
you
plays
set up your
Silent
friends.
Hill.
because
10,000 likes.
Phasmophobia is basically, for those who don't know, it's this game where you can go in with up to I think 4 friends, and you basically have to solve this mystery of a ghost in a house, right? And eventually this ghost starts to get aggressive, right? And then it chases you down, and there's these little like totems that you find in the house that can actually aggro the ghost on purpose, not just by you walking around and whatever. And like a friend of mine, Calvin, he's known for like every time he finds like a music box or something like that, will aggro the ghost on purpose. Fucking stay quiet and just be like, take you to like the deepest part of the house and then throw it on the floor, and then all of us fucking die.
With friends like that, who needs enemies?
Yeah. No, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't like the only game that I would play right now if they made would be that, like where it's like more life simulation where you're going out there, you gotta jujitsu somebody or do like punch somebody
Don't
or
they
like kick
have
somebody. Like that would be cool as hell.
Not treadmill.
I would
this-
die
That's what he's talking
immediately.
about, like the little
And I
sphere thing.
And I
you
think
run
the
around
issue-
it and it straps you up.
I think the problem with that is the reason I think they're not doing that because the minute they did that, and can you imagine, bunch of kids would get to the level because they're like, this is a simulation warfare. Like, bunch of these kids are getting to the level of
So,
like
we're gonna get
tac ops.
Sword Art Online.
No, like
Are you an anime
but-
person? Like,
Not as I mean, I do enjoy anime, but I mean, I may or may not know which one you're talking about.
Sword Art Online is basically like Ready Player One, that movie that came out.
Good
An anime like that, basically.
Yeah, or like, were you ever into the Metal Gear Solid video games?
No.
Oh, those are phenomenal. If you want to talk about like a good story, Metal Gear Solid, epic story. But you're talking about like simulations. Part of that is like war simulations and creating like a whole culture of people. Like,
because what is
desensitized to
happening
war.
right now? Look what's happening right now in Ukraine. They got like a slew of these kids that played games like controlling drones and shit. And right now they're the ones that are controlling those drones that are dropping bombs onto Russian soldiers. Because they're like, why would we teach a soldier to do that? Where these kids have been playing these games for. So now they have like just rooms set up with computers that are controlling these drones. So can you imagine? Like now you got this swarm of these kids that know how to use an AR. You know
Those
what I mean?
kids are
Like,
still using terms like, "Bros, I just dropped a nuke."
yeah, yeah. So like these kids are using these weapons and they're really good at it. And one of them is fucking psycho. Goes into a school. Now he's trained like a SOCOM person to go through these rooms. Like imagine the damage that somebody like that could do it. So this is why I think there's part of it why they won't let these games come out and design them in a sense that they're that. Because I've played those, like in the arcade game they have them. They attach it to things, and they're very like cartoonish, like they're just they're not it. You're shooting targets and stupid shit. I'm talking about like a modern warfare style gameplay. You
Another
strap.
thing is that VR headsets aren't there yet.
But I think
Like,
VR
they're-
headsets
they're-
make me nauseous.
They're getting there.
Yeah.
For example, like
What did
the
Eric
new
say?
ones. The new one's gonna have dual 1440p panels, which will be a lot higher PPI than what they were looking at before.
Yeah.
what if
So they're gonna look a lot better, but then you still have the thing of like a lot of people get nauseous or headaches.
No,
like-
Eric,
and-
what
and-
Eric?
Role play. In
Oh,
games.
role playing! Oh my god! For example, if you ever played Rust and you go into one of those role play servers, it's the worst thing you ever do in your life.
Oh yeah. You want to talk about toxic?
Yeah.
Give it 200 years, you're probably gonna have a contact lens. It's gonna do everything for you.
Well,
like
no.
that.
What do you mean by role playing? I don't get it. I've never done it.
So in certain games, like this game called Rust, or there's even in like Grand Theft Auto, they have this now, where basically you go in and you role play. Like there's these servers in Grand Theft
I
Auto that
agree,
you go in and you
Alex.
actually go to work. You work as a cop. If you're a normal person, you drive at the fucking speed limit. Like, you're not just playing Grand Theft Auto fucking going crazy. No, you're role playing like a real person in these games.
Yeah, that's dumb.
I agree
and there's
with
a lot of
Alex.
people that get into it.
No, that's true. That's 100%
Yeah,
true. Like,
because
there's no sign. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that video
But
games are
I
gonna
don't
make
even
people
agree
violent.
with that, because like if you, let's say you're really good at video games, you could fucking clean the whole map of people and you got the best skills. When you go in the real world and you hear gunshots, your fucking mind say, "Well, oh shit,
I understand. I understand.
Guns with silencers don't go pew pew.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I get that. And I'm not saying that makes you violent. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that these kids can acquire these technical skills of someone that should only know these skills if you were like a...
Remotely, I can see them easily.
Not even remotely. Like, can you imagine, like, for right now, let's say if you want to go and train, have a weapons training, right? Your own carry weapons training. At a minimum, you have to start with $300 to $400, and then those classes slowly escalate, right? To get you to the level that you need to be to properly, like, to the level of let's say a cop or a military person, right? Like that costs a lot of money. Now imagine somebody comes up with the game. The rig costs you $1,000. The game costs you $100. Total of $1,100, and now you get the same quality of training for $1,000 versus it costing you
$1,000 rig ain't
$20
gonna play VR too well.
I just think that's the same argument people have been making since the 80s. And like I just think like the inherent like nature of humans, like I think people like understand like real versus fake being on your couch more than maybe people would initially think. That's just my take on it. But to your point about drones, anyone here actually fly drones? Because I have tried and I've crashed three of them.
I flew one, you know where?
No more drones.
It's about how expensive the drone is.
No, you
because
have
like
to have
for
a good
example,
drone,
like
bro.
low end drones, like you gotta control them all manual, and like one little fuck up and that thing's going 10 miles an hour into the
we were in
wall.
Costa Rica for my buddy's bachelor party, and one of my friends has a FPV drone with the goggles. Dude. And we were in a penthouse suite.
I fucking hate it. I put that shit on.
No, bro,
and
that
I
shit
flew
was
it for like
amazing.
a minute. I said, take this shit out. I don't want to fucking
he gave me the
it.
controls. He had him in the air. And I was like, fuck it. I'm going to the beach. With the drone to the beach. And literally like watching the whole coastline. And then I was like, the battery's dying. So when we took off this pylon from the penthouse, and the roof line was as equal to the pylon. So the drone naturally is like, I'm coming back. Takes over control, coming back, fucking lands on the roof, bro, of a penthouse building. And we're like, oh shit. We went downstairs, security. Hey, we got a drone up there. We give $100. Can you go up there? Yep, no problem. With no rope, nothing, bro. On a slanted roof.
Yeah, this motherfucker
like
Spider-Man his way. He Spider-Man his way.
Dude, I'm
onto
shaking
a
talking about it.
20-story building roof. Got the drone down.
With no, I was like, how'd you get there, Spider-Man? He's like, no, like a cat. I'm like,
it's gonna be a no from me, dog.
$100?
Fuck that.
Have you ever watched?
$100.
Have you watched that crazy drone racing they have?
Yes.
That stuff makes me motion sick, but it is very cool.
Yeah, it's
you know what's
super
even
cool,
I think is even cooler to watch, especially as a car guy, is how good the footage is of those drones when they are watching, getting footage of people drifting.
Race cars. Oh yeah, the drifting. It's big in drifting.
Yeah. I remember one time we went to Sunshine Speedway. You know they have that really small drift track now.
Yeah.
And we're there, and we're hearing. And we're like, that's not a car.
Yeah.
And we look up on the back of the hill. There's some little kid with goggles on. And like, he's the one controlling that. And he'd call like every like those things are so fast. The batteries go out like this.
Oh yeah.
And so like every 5 minutes, the kid's like bringing it back, swapping out the batteries, and throwing it back up.
Yeah, that's what's wild. I've never actually seen drifting live. I've always wanted to watch it live.
How good?
It was like an open day thing, so it was like random people going with the car. So it was nothing really too entertaining. Like every 1 out of 20 cars was someone that actually knew how to drift.
How good of a drones were you using that you said you crashed?
I don't know. They're like $200 a piece.
Yeah, no, you gotta get a really good
drones are one of those things that's like.
Yeah, at the minimum you gotta get a DJI.
Yeah,
bro,
like
DJI,
DJI, which is like $800 for like the mini.
Yeah, those little shit. It's
nasty.
So I went to a tech startup conference in Tampa, and part of it is like military application stuff. And one year they had a whole section dedicated to drones. Man, I've seen some cool things in my life, but those like military application drones.
Oh yeah.
like seeing them up close, like carbon fiber rails, 7 blades. I'm like, what?
You know who? Do you know the guy who invented Oculus, the first Rift, right?
Mm-hmm.
He sold the company, right?
Yeah.
He actually has now, I forget what it's called, and I was actually pinged by their company to work out of California on their drones for a job, and I was like, bro, I'm not moving to California. But he makes military application drones, like what are you talking about?
Yeah, those things
I
are
forget
wild.
the name. I could pull it up.
Yeah, it's when they say military grade, like those drones are
Oh,
no
yeah,
joke.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you can pick it up. I'm like, this thing's like the size of this table, bigger than the size of, like, imagine a circle, but like this table's type footprint. Yeah, he's like, just stand in the middle and pick that thing up. I'm like, whoa. And he goes, yeah, it goes like, it can go up to 100 miles. I was like, can it carry a payload? And he just didn't answer the question. I was like, touche.
Sounds like those when I was in high school. I bought a fixed geared bike. I used to ride around a lot.
Fixie gang.
And yeah, I busted my ass so many times.
Fixies will do that.
Yeah, I was.
Alex is big into bikes, bro.
Oh yeah, I love bikes.
Yeah,
my little bicicleta. I love them.
I still have it actually, it's sitting in the garage. I put like carbon fiber fork on it, did the wheels. Anyways, seeing guys that would get like these $1,000 specialized, and like you could pick the thing up with your pinky.
$1,000 specialized.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bro, $1,000
Way more.
shit.
I don't
Dude,
remember how
like,
much
so
it was
I
back
so
in the
right
day,
now I ride a Trekkimanda SL7.
Trek is really
it's
nice.
it's all carbon frame. Thing like fully dressed weighs 18 pounds. It's a climbing bike. Like you can pick that thing up with one finger. And like the bike that I was looking to get before I got really into jiu-jitsu and stopped riding my bike is called a Canyon Air Road. This guy Max Vanderpool rides one in the Tour de France. It's one of my favorite riders. But that thing looks like a missile. If you ever want to look one up, Canyon AEROAD. Those things are bad. A little bit heavier, but those things run like $4,000 to $6,000. Then like the top end spec ones run like 10, 11. But yeah, those are cool. But yeah, bikes get expensive.
I really like trying out different bars. I always like Pursuit.
It's
bullhorns.
called Anduril.
Okay, cool.
The company name?
Anduril.
Yeah, this one's.
That's the drones that he built.
Yeah, so like that was the one that I was about to buy. Was that one?
Is that a road bike?
Yeah. Nasty.
Yeah, that one was. That was the one, but then I got like super into jiu-jitsu and decided to build a home gym because I never had time to go to the gym because I'm always
I
training.
got a triathlon bike I need to sell, but it's too small for you.
What kind of tri bike?
Trek.
Oh, nice.
But it's a 54 centimeters or something.
Oh yeah,
like that.
54 centimeter top tube.
Yeah,
it would be the
probably.
Trek Speedmax.
Oh, it's an older model.
It starts with E, no?
I don't remember. It's in the shed.
No, the Speed Concept.
It's in the
I
shed.
think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, the I love Treks. I've ridden Treks for a long time, but I think my next one might be Canyon. They
He's got a badass one. He's got a badass giant, like
yeah. Yeah, Giant makes a good one.
I got a $4,000 Giant.
For mountain bike.
Well, no, it was actually not 4,000. It's upgraded.
Yeah.
No, bikes are one of those things. Like you want to talk about rabbit holes, like yeah, that stuff gets expensive real quick. All the carbon fiber bits.
I paid $1,000 for it, but yeah.
Now they have electronic shifting. And
My shitty fixed gear is probably worth $300.
but I love bikes. Like I got a $300 bike in my garage. I have a lot more expensive one in my garage. I also have a really cool classic one. My dad brought it down. It was his bike in college. It's a 1973 specialized road bike with down tube shifting.
That's what I have. I have a Diamondback with a dime to shifting.
Yeah, it's a bad ride. It's so old. So like the way they used to do bike lights is really cool. They had a generator on them that you'd flick a switch and it would touch the tire and it would actually power the lights on it.
Yep.
So it's got that on it, which is pretty sweet.
Oh, that
still works.
Fuck.
For my battery is 4,200. Lol, what is he talking about?
Eric, go to sleep. It's late for you. You don't know what you're talking about. Freaking old, bro.
So I mean, I don't know, man. I like that one thing I'm saying, the concept of a game, that's something I would play. Like that I would buy that shit, set it up in my office. I would play that.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I would think of it as like basically entry level training for combat, weapons combat. Like
I don't know. The only
handling.
thing that's a downside to me on that thing is it sounds so complicated. Like every time you go to want to play, I'm sure it's like at least 20 minutes
strap in.
of you strapping in, like calibrating shit, and no,
Listen,
man, I want to go sit down.
Dude, you think the
30 seconds boot up on my SSD and Apex. Here we go.
Dude, you think the updates that you got to run before you play Call of Duty are bad?
right?
Imagine
you
that
gotta
one.
do all the different drivers for
Well,
that
yeah,
shit.
2
but
terabyte
You're
update.
talking about here zombie apocalypse. Would you want to be 20 minutes of strapping in? That you ready for that?
No, just
Hey,
remember, small car,
I've
no sharp corners, lots of loot.
Lots of loot, yeah.
I've spent the last 3 years figuring out how to use a mouse. I'm gonna keep doing that.
Click, 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 click.
No, because back in the day, I used to play. I think it was one of the Counter-Strike ones, which was before COD.
It might have
even a
been
thing.
CS:GO because that has been going on for
CS:GO is like
Yeah,
OG
and
at this
back
point.
in the
Jay,
day,
what's
bro,
your rank in
stuff.
CS:GO?
I wasn't big into it. I just liked playing the game, right? So I'd never really gone into it and just like try to figure out what's going on with the game and so on and so forth. But then later down the road, I understood that every single fucking person that was playing this, and I'm talking about when you were playing this game, there would be like 500-600 people on the same map, on the same small map. I would fucking spawn and I would die. I would spawn and I would die. Like I was lucky to get 1 or 2 kills.
Simple as your dog water, Jay. Your
He
dog
never
water.
he never got past level 5 because that's when you can actually play comp and not deal with that many people.
No. So the thing here
shots
was
fired.
everyone was using fucking shoot through walls, like
Yeah,
they
cheat.
could see where you got. They were all coming in with like multiple bullets. Like they would spawn and just start like
You know-
sewing shit down.
Yeah, have you ever heard of? I'm sure you have Apex Legends, right?
Oh yeah. Apex.
And a buddy of mine, he goes today. He's like, "Bro, they came out. I heard of this thing, and the new like these people are starting to see this new cheat where cheaters can actually within a certain vicinity make the people that they're fighting reload." So it's like in the middle of the gunfight, your thing reloads like automatically.
So
without
one
you
of the
doing anything.
funniest things I've seen as far as cheating goes, and it's kind of a cheat, but is with the proximity chat on games. People will be like, "Hey Xbox, turn off."
Yes, that and you know that was a thing.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah,
Look
and
at
that
it,
was
look
a
at-
thing
Turn
when
off the other guy's shit.
you know that when Xbox One first came out and it was coming with the Kinect. The Kinect had that feature,
Yeah.
Xbox turn off, and so many people were using that little shitty mic that just was only for game
Yeah.
chat and you could only talk, and then other people were just using like the mic that came with the Kinect, and so they were listening to the game chat through the speakers, and someone would just scream in chat, "Xbox turn off," boop, and that person's whole system would turn off.
Oh god, I just.
But
It's
see, that's-
happening now with COD
Yeah.
with COD proximity chat because the new systems, they're actually having microphones built into the controller
yeah.
now, so people that don't want to wear headsets, this and that.
That's the weirdest thing about my PS5 is some games like you'll hear like stuff coming out of the controller, like on Hogwarts Legacy, like the water sounds of like you're swimming or something, or like some of the stuff with like you're flying the broom will come out of the controller. I'm like, stop that.
Yeah, and they even did that on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
In the PlayStation 4, I remember there were certain games that like different audios would come through
Yeah.
the controller, especially like when you would have like an accomplishment or something like
Yeah.
that, and like the little ding would come out of the controller.
Yeah, it was big in Destiny. Remember it happened for whatever reason I was playing Destiny. It always happened.
Anyway, all right, guys. I think we're at 2 hours right now.
Yeah,
I
we're a
think
little
this was
past
an
2 hours.
awesome episode. Like we touched literally on fucking everything except for one thing. I wanted to bring up one thing, but it doesn't matter. We can cover this on the next one. And this had to do with Bad Bunny and one of the Kardashians.
Catch me outside.
Huh?
Catch me outside.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
No, not Bad
I
Baby,
haven't
Bad
heard
Bunny.
it.
Bad Bunny.
The artist.
No
Yeah.
idea who that is.
So
Puerto
we
Rican.
can talk about that.
We will teach you,
reggaeton
bro.
artist.
Yeah.
Don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's the highest. He's the highest paid. You know what? I brought it up. Let's just finish it
I
up.
gotta
5
go.
minutes.
I gotta go in 2 minutes.
Yeah. So, basically, Bad Bunny is the highest paid artist currently. He's the highest paid singer in the world, right?
Okay.
And he's from Puerto Rico. Before he barely spoke any English. Now he kind of like has the. So he was spotted with Kendall Jenner at the Oscars, and then he was spotted kissing her in a parking lot. So the whole
kissing.
Yeah, so the whole thing with Bad Bunny was that he was in an open relationship with his girlfriend. Now he's with Kendall. How does that?
Well, I don't think he's been with his girlfriend for a long time. Yeah, since like the end of Corona, like I don't
They
think
broke
were
up a
together.
while ago.
Well, it doesn't matter. He was still with the girl in an open relationship, right? That was his thing to appeal to the masses. Wearing the skirts and all this shit, right?
He also has a purse, literally. So
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's appealing to the younger generation. Now he's with Kendall, and I don't know if Kendall is going to be all about that whole open relationship vibe and all that stuff. So
The crazy thing is gonna be the show. I don't know if he's gonna want to be part of the Kardashian show.
but I don't understand why you.
He's gonna have
be
cameras
fun.
all over
Okay,
the
Bad
fucking
Bunny.
place.
I don't know.
He can get any girl. Why is he going after them? What
It's-
is this guy?
What do you mean, dude? That's like top.
Get
that's
the
one of
fuck
the
outta
that's
here.
one of the
Trash.
only sisters out of
Trash.
all. That's one of the only sisters out of all that doesn't have a tainted name.
Trash.
That's the only sister out of all.
Trash.
Well, in what sense?
Oh yeah, but they're all getting that.
No, I'm not
And they don't
talking
give
about her
and they don't
picking
give
a
it-
fight with
and they don't
Selena
give it-
Gomez. I'm talking about them actually being hoes. Like that's the only sister that's not a hoe.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Jay
Sure.
said
So,
they don't have tainted pussies.
Jay went there.
huh?
Jay just
Jay
went
said-
there.
What do you
I
mean?
got
That's
tainted
am I
pussy.
saying something that's not true? All of us know that. Just none of you is saying it. I am. You know what I mean? But
Bro.
that's true.
Trash, bro.
No, it's not. So she's with him, but the whole thing about that whole open relation, I want to see how this shit's gonna play out,
I got
and
no-
how's the woke culture gonna take that
No
of him
comments.
being
I
in a
think-
monogamous relationship now.
I think you gotta let it
bullshit.
marinate a little bit, and then you can pick it up on the next podcast.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't waste my breath on these people.
Yeah.
And on that note,
And on that note, guys, hey,
holla! I don't waste my breath on them.
okay, before you guys take off, all right, if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. If you have to share, do that, subscribe, whatever. Don't want to hit the like button, don't do it. Don't want to subscribe, don't do it either. Hey, just do what's right, all right? Do
And
what's
in
good
that
for
note,
you.
fuck you too then.
Yeah, on that note, actually, I'm gonna on Thursday we're gonna have another guest. He's actually pretty big in a boats industry, and he's actually
Oh.
one of the top.
And also, we didn't mention you have a podcast as well, don't
Oh
you?
yeah. That's
I would
that-
keep that off here. It's more professional for my job, but I
Got
do.
you,
I
got
do
you.
podcast myself. So,
Yeah.
Got you,
So
got you.
my buddy that's in boats, he's the top. He's the top supplier of what do you call those things in the boats that like level
Stabilizers.
Seakeepers.
Yeah.
He's the top
Really?
supplier of Seakeepers. Super cool guy.
Can he
super
give us
interesting
one for
technology.
free?
Actually, he's gonna bring that little toy
Oh shit!
for you to
Hell
hold.
yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
we're gonna.
Aaron's good people. He's a
Yeah.
cool guy.
It's
Hey,
super cool.
free seakeeper for everybody.
Yeah.
Do you even have a boat?
Can he give me a seakeeper for my car?
Hey, listen, you can talk. You can talk to Aaron about it next Thursday. Hey guys, stay tuned for next Thursday. I know I've been slacking on
Hey,
videos. It's been
1K
a long
likes.
weekend.
Jay plays Silent Hill in a black room.
Oh,
1K
I'll
likes.
set-
Yo,
1K
I will,
subscribers.
I will pay
Once-
a farm bot in Malaysia to get 1,000 likes for that.
No. I want.
I'll do it.
I want 1K
I'll set that up.
subscribers.
We can do it
I
in
want
my
1K subscribers, and I want consistent 1K likes and at the very least 10,000
Bro,
views.
you're
on
asking
I'm about
videos.
to price out a
bro.
bot farm.
You're asking too much.
Bro, we're
Nah,
about,
I'm not asking too much. I ain't
we're
I'm
about
touching
to,
that game, bro.
We're about to mine.
I
Price that
listen.
Hey, we're
You
about
heard it
to
here
mine
first.
likes.
You heard it here first. 1K subs, views, likes, all of that jazz, and I'll play the Silent Hill game, and they'll fucking
In the
film it.
black room with surround sound.
That's fine.
Done.
I'll do it.
Now,
But I wanna-
You're gonna wear the Sennheisers, and I'm gonna have the fucking subwoofer on my speakers going at the same time.
That's fine. You'll share, subscribe this for this to pick up. We get 1K subs, bunch of likes on videos, bunch of view time on the videos. People actually engaging in the chat. Like we do this the right way. I'm there. I'll play the game.
And then we'll show his diapers afterwards.
That's fine.
Thank you again, Alex.